Chapter 2662. The Xian clan expert Xian Tianhe, the first Tao Lord of the Fire Luo mystic world, had an extraordinary Tao heart, the thousand-tempered sword heart. He had tried to merge with the Six Paths Saint's Tao heart, but he had suffered a severe backlash. Although the Six Paths Saint had died many years ago, the remnant Tao heart in his heart was still so domineering. The Xian clan experts, including the two Tao Lords, were all shocked and retreated. At this moment, the Six Paths Saint's heart was no longer a peerless treasure but a terrifying monster. One of the Xian clan Tao Lords quickly went forward to stabilize Xian Tianhe and help him swallow the pill. Xian Tianhe's Tao heart was shattered and he immediately fell into a heavily injured state. Although he wouldn't die with his Tao heart shattered, he would have a hard time on the path of cultivation in the future. This also meant that Xian Tianhe, the so-called first Tao Lord of the Fire Luo mystic world, had been removed from the list. Xian Tianhe spat out another mouthful of blood, and his aura became weak. His face was ashen as he said hatefully, "The six extreme Tao Saints' Tao heart was made of supreme steel. I didn't expect it to still be so strong after so many years. Even my thousand-tempered Tao heart couldn't merge with it. Instead, my Tao heart was shattered." The other Xian clan cultivators all trembled and no one dared to try to merge with the six extreme Tao Saints' heart. Whoosh! Pang Yen flew over with the Pang clan cultivators. Pang Yen cupped his fists towards the two Tao Lords of the Xian clan. "Lords of the Xian clan, if you give up on merging with the Tao heart, I'll go down and try. You won't object, right?" One of the Xian clan elders snorted. Even the first Tao Lord of the Fire Luo mystic world failed. "A mere Tao Lord like you wants to merge with the six extreme Tao Saints' Tao heart? If you want to die, the Xian clan won't stop you." "Thank you, Lord." Pang Yen cupped his fists towards the Xian clan elder and then flew towards the six extreme Tao Saints' heart. Su Feng, who was hiding in the Tao palace of a Pang clan cultivator, saw Pang Yan's confidence and was surprised. Pang Yen is so confident that he really has a way to merge with the six extreme Tao Saints' Tao heart? Even if he succeeds, isn't afraid that the Tao Lords of the clan will go back on their word? With the help of the Pang clan cultivator's eyes, Su Feng observed Pang Yan's every move. Pang Yen slowly flew near the heart and smiled proudly. The six extreme great Tao Saints' Tao heart is the legendary fine steel Tao heart. It is as strong as fine steel. Although Xian Tianhe's thousand-tempering Tao heart is extraordinary, how can it merge? As for me, Pang Yen, I was born with an extraordinary Tao heart. Ever since the Pang clan discovered the secret of the six extreme Tao Saint, I have been focused on cultivation for the past few million years. I have used various methods to sharpen my Tao heart. Otherwise, how could I have been made the young master of the Pang clan? My blazing Tao heart can refine the Tao heart of six extreme Tao Saint. Naturally, I can easily fuse them together. The Tao heart of the six extreme Tao Saint, including the six extreme Tao Saint's celestial body, belongs to me, Pang Yen. No one can take it away from me. Pang Yen revealed a domineering smile as a crack appeared between his eyebrows. A thought that contained a scorching fire elemental Taoist rhyme, Dharma power, and his will of Tao jumped out from between his eyebrows. It turned into an illusory fiery light that enveloped his heart. A cluster of fist-sized crimson fire that could only be seen through the soul flew out of his heart. It was the blazing Tao heart that Pang Yen had condensed with all of his will. Whoosh! The crimson flames landed on the heart and enveloped it, burning it with a sizzling sound. Sizzle! The silver-like heart actually started to melt in the illusory flames. Pang Yan's will and consciousness kept on seeping into the heart. Pang Yen could feel that his Tao heart had obtained a supreme will and it kept on expanding. His sensing power also quickly spread to every corner of the six extreme Tao Saints' celestial body. A powerful feeling of controlling the entire celestial body filled his heart. A smug smile appeared at the corner of his mouth. The many cultivators of the Pang clan also revealed expressions of wild joy. Although the experts of the Xian clan did not believe that Pang Yen could fuse with the Dao heart of 6 extreme Dao Saint, they still stayed behind and observed Pang Yan's every move. Seeing that Pang Yen was gradually fusing with the Dao heart of 6 extreme Dao Saint, Xian Tianhe, who was heavily injured, let out a cold, murderous voice. "Kill him!" Whoosh! Whoosh! The 2 Dao masters of the Xian clan completely released the seals on their physical bodies and celestial bodies. They no longer suppressed their cultivations and charged towards Pang Yen. One of them released a thought that turned into a violent and extremely sharp hurricane that swept towards Pang Yen. The other released his celestial body and struck out with a shocking seal. It formed a 1,000-foot-long sword chi that slashed towards Pang Yen. The many cultivators of the Pang clan were terrified. It was as if doomsday had arrived. However, Pang Yen did not seem to notice the attacks from the Xian clan Dao masters. He was still fully focused on fusing with the Dao heart of 6 extreme Dao Saint. Seeing that the attacks of the 2 Xian clan Dao masters were about to engulf Pang Yen and the other cultivators of the Pang clan, a flame divine aura suddenly erupted from the body of a Pang clan cultivator who was only at the lower level of Dao Lord. This flame divine aura was extremely shocking. Not only did it contain the terrifying power to incinerate everything, but it also contained the supreme aura of the Grand Dao of Fire. Where the flame divine aura swept out, the thought hurricanes released by the 2 Xian clan Dao masters and the 1,000-foot-long sword chi shattered layer by layer and were instantly incinerated into nothingness. Moreover, the flame divine aura did not diminish as it enveloped the Xian clan cultivators. Chi, chi, chi. 3 of the weaker Xian clan cultivators had their physical bodies and avatars instantly melted and turned into wisps of black smoke. The remaining Dao lords had their physical bodies incinerated as well. Only their avatars were left. Xian Tianhe and the other 2 Dao masters had their defenses shattered, and their physical bodies were burned by the flame divine aura. They were all heavily injured. The Pang clan cultivator who had attacked was only at the lower level of Dao Lord. He did not look impressive, but his strength had surpassed the Dao masters and even the Grand Elder of the Pang clan and Xian Tianchi. One of the Xian clan elders asked in a trembling voice, "Who are you?" The domineering aura on Xian Tianhe's face disappeared. Instead, it was filled with surprise and shock. He said bitterly, "How could there be such a powerful expert in the Pang clan other than the Pang clan's patriarch?" The Pang clan's patriarch? The Xian clan cultivators were all terrified and fell into despair. They did not expect that the Pang clan's patriarch would personally come to the inner space of the 6 extreme Dao Saints' avatar. Inside the 6 extreme Dao Saints' avatar, the higher one's cultivation was, the greater one would be affected by the avatar's power of decay. The Pang clan's patriarch had clearly taken a huge risk by coming here. Unless it was a critical moment, he would not personally come. The unprepossessing Pang clan cultivator spoke in an old and dignified voice. "I didn't want to do anything, but your Xian clan has gone too far. You tried to kill the young master of my Pang clan, so I had no choice but to punish you. Otherwise, you would think that my Pang clan is a pushover. Since the Pang clan's patriarch has personally come, the Xian clan has nothing to say. The 6 extreme Dao Saints' avatar belongs to the Pang clan. Let's go." Xian Tianhe gritted his teeth and led the other Xian clan cultivators into the depths of the space. They had no choice but to leave. They had no power to resist the Pang clan's patriarch. The Pang clan's patriarch had already been merciful by sparing their lives. Looks like there's no hope for the 6 extreme Dao Saints' avatar now. Su Feng, who was hidden in the Xiantian Dao palace of the Pang clan cultivator, was like a deflated balloon. He hurriedly used the life-shrinking technique to conceal his aura. The Pang clan's patriarch was a very powerful existence. If he wanted to sense, he would easily discover Su Feng. At that time, Su Feng would not be able to escape. Fortunately, The Pang clan's patriarch's attention was all on Pang Yen and the 6 extreme Tao Saints' heart. He did not pay attention to anything else, and would not deliberately sense the other Pang clan cultivators. 2 hours. 4 hours. About 6 hours later, the heart had completely melted into a mercury-like substance. Pang Yan's face was as pale as paper and his body was trembling. However, his eyes were shining with a hearty light, and a supreme domineering aura that could control the world appeared. The Pang clan cultivator's eyes were also shining, and he was so excited that his body was trembling. Su Fang was secretly anxious. What do we do? Do we just watch as the 6 extreme Tao Saints' avatar is controlled by Pang Yen? Suddenly buzz. In Su Fang's Jiuquan Tao Palace, the Tao runes of the life shrinking technique flashed wildly. Shortly after, a faintly discernible power of destiny erupted from the 6 extreme Tao Saint celestial body. Not only Pang Yen, but even the Pang clan cultivator that the Pang clan's patriarch was residing in did not notice. Puff! Pang Yen felt as if an invisible hand had slapped him and the space around him. Pang Yen opened his mouth and spat out a mouthful of essence blood. His Tao heart was instantly shattered. Not only that, but a terrifying power that could wipe out destiny and everything connected to destiny caused Pang Yan's physical body, Tao Palace, and avatar to rapidly collapse. The flame that enveloped his heart also disappeared. In less than 3 breaths of time, Pang Yen was completely gone. It was as if he had never existed. The Destiny Platform. The Pang clan cultivator's eyes were filled with shock and fear. The other Pang clan cultivators had completely turned into ice sculptures. Su Fang was also extremely shocked. The life shrinking technique. The Heaven's Fate stage expert used the Heaven's Secret Life shrinking technique to kill 6 extreme Tao Saint. In the Tao heart of 6 extreme Tao Saint, there was still the supreme power of destiny left. Pang Yen tried to fuse with 6 extreme Tao Saints' Tao heart and was killed by the Heaven's Secret Life shrinking technique. Then, the Pang clan cultivators' memories of Pang Yen began to fade rapidly. In their memories, Pang Yen had never existed, nor had their fates intertwined with his. Not only the ordinary Pang clan cultivators, but even Su Fang and the Pang clan's patriarch quickly lost their memories of Pang Yen. The life-shrinking technique was just that domineering. This time, not only the Xian clan, but also the Pang clan, had suffered heavy losses. Although the Pang clan cultivator had lost his memories of Pang Yen, he was still a powerful expert. He could still vaguely remember that something had happened that had caused the Pang clan to suffer heavy losses. With his strength, he did not have the right to retain memories of that incident. Let's go, let's leave quickly. Chapter 2663. All the cultivators of the Pang clan left the place where the 6 extreme Tao Saints' heart was and returned to the formation. They left quickly with the help of the formation. No one noticed that one of the cultivators of the Pang clan had been waiting for everyone to leave. Then, a figure flashed out of his Tao palace. Then, the cultivator of the Pang clan stepped into the formation. The cultivators of the Pang clan, including the Pang clan's ancestor, were all terrified. They wanted to leave as soon as possible and naturally did not notice this. The Xian clan and Pang clan were unable to fuse with the 6 extreme Tao Saints' Tao heart, but I, Su Fang, may be able to do it. Su Fang's eyes flashed with determination. He was nervous, excited, and full of anticipation as he flew back to the 6 extreme Tao Saints' heart. Half a month later, Su Fang appeared in front of the 6 extreme Tao Saints' heart. However, when he saw the heart, his eyes flashed with fear. The Xian clan Xian Tianhe, the first Tao master of the Huoloa mystical world, and Pang Yen not only failed to fuse with the 6 extreme Tao Saints' Tao heart, one was injured and the other was killed. Even the Pang clan's ancestor could not stop them. Su Fang was only in the Tao True realm. How could he not be afraid? Fortune comes from danger. This time, no matter what, I have to give it a try. Purple Fate Dharma Body, this time, it must give me supreme fate and obtain the 6 extreme Tao Saints' Dharma body. Su Fang relied on not only his colorful jade Tao heart and the Heaven's Secret Life shrinking technique, but also the purple fate Dharma body that could bring him supreme fate. Otherwise, how could he have the confidence to try something that even a Tao master could not succeed? First, I have to recover to my peak state. Then, I will fuse with the 6 extreme Tao Saints' Tao heart. Previously, when Su Fang used the life manipulation karma line to control the fate of the Pang clan cultivator, he had lost a lot of life force. Although it was still bearable, there could not be any mistakes in fusing with the 6 extreme Tao Saints' Tao heart. The slightest mistake could be fatal. Hence, Su Fang had to be very careful. Su Fang sat cross-legged in the air. After creating a formation around him, he began to devour elixirs and fused with the expert's life force. About 3 years. Su Fang suddenly opened his eyes. Although I haven't fully recovered to my peak state, there isn't much time left. Start fusing with the 6 extreme Tao Saint Tao heart. Then he activated his purple fate battle body. In an instant, his physical body and his other battle bodies were enveloped by a mysterious purple qi. An invisible force of fate enveloped him. Qi. Su Fang extracted a lump of blood essence from his body. He couldn't release his thoughts, so he could only use the blood essence to fuse with his Yuan Shin consciousness, Dharma power, Mystic Yang power, and Yin Yang power to fuse with his heart and Tao heart. The essence blood turned into a cloud of blood mist and danced around the heart like a fairy. Only then did Su Fang focus all his energy and release his Tao heart and will. A rainbow-colored light gushed out from Su Fang's heart. Multicolored light swept out and enveloped the heart. The multicolored light and Su Fang's blood essence, consciousness, and power seeped into his heart. The heart that was originally deathly still was now enveloped by a layer of dazzling light. The 6 extreme Tao Saints' Tao heart was as strong as steel and constantly released a cold and powerful will, causing Su Fang's infiltration to be very slow. However, Su Fang was pleasantly surprised to find that his colorful jade Tao heart was clearly superior to the 6 extreme Tao Saints' Tao heart. Furthermore, the purple fate battle body brought Su Fang a kind of supreme heavenly Tao fate, which was also continuously suppressing the Tao heart of the 6 extreme Tao Saint. Under the infiltration of Su Fang's Tao heart, the 6 extreme Tao Saint's powerful Tao heart was constantly being fused. From the initial rejection, it actively cooperated with Su Fang. Although a cultivator's Tao heart was related to their cultivation to a certain extent, it wasn't everything. Su Fang had experienced all kinds of hardships and tribulations in the past, which allowed him to train a strong and resilient Tao heart. During the tribulation, it formed a colorful jade Tao heart, which was superior to most Tao hearts. Even the Shi Xian Daozu was full of praise for it. Although the 6 extreme Tao Saints' Tao heart was strong, in terms of quality, it was still inferior to Su Fang. Most importantly, the 6 extreme Tao Saint had already died and his fate was erased by the Destiny Stage expert's life shrinking technique. His Tao heart was constantly being eroded, and coupled with the suppression of the purple fate battle body, it was only natural that he would be fused with Su Fang's colorful jade Tao heart. Although my colorful jade Tao heart can fuse with the Tao heart of the 6 extreme Tao Saint, I still can't be careless. This is the first stage. The most terrifying thing is the Destiny Stage expert's life shrinking technique left in the Tao heart of the 6 extreme Tao Saint. Su Fang was still trembling in fear and did not dare to be careless. He knew how terrifying the Destiny Stage shrinking technique was. Moreover, the Tao heart of the 6 extreme Tao Saint contained the power of destiny that was personally cast by the Destiny Stage expert. Once he was devoured, his fate would be wiped out. As the Tao heart of the 6 extreme Tao Saint continued to fuse with Su Fang, he felt that he had become one with the Tao Saint's celestial body, as if he was the celestial body's master. He could even sense what was going on inside the celestial body through the fused Tao heart. This included the cultivators from the Pang clan and Xian clan who were searching for treasures in the celestial body. They could also sense the ownerless thoughts in the celestial body. Unfortunately, as the Tao heart was not completely fused, Su Fang could not truly control those thoughts and the celestial body. Time passed and every second felt like a year to Su Fang. Unknowingly, 12 hours had already passed. Su Fang's will, consciousness and power had completely penetrated into the depths of the six extreme Tao Saint's heart and had almost completely fused with it. Buzz buzz buzz. The thing that Su Fang had long predicted had still happened. From the depths of the six extreme Tao Saint's heart, the power of destiny suddenly surged out. In an instant it passed through Su Fang's will, consciousness, mana and divine power and enveloped Su Fang's destiny. At this moment, a terrifying feeling that he had never felt before enveloped Su Fang's body and mind. This feeling was something that Su Fang had experienced before when he used the life-shrinking technique to wipe out the destiny of others. However, Su Fang had never experienced it before. It was too terrifying. In the next moment, everything in Su Fang's destiny would be wiped clean, as if it had never existed in the world. I'm dead this time. Su Fang's heart was filled with despair. Other than despair, he did not have time to think of anything else. The power of destiny that could wipe out everything instantly swept through Su Fang's Jiuquan Dao Palace. Poof! Su Fang's purple fate Dharma body had brought him an unparalleled amount of luck. It blocked the power of destiny for a moment before it shattered and disappeared. Although it was only for a moment, it gave Su Fang a chance to catch his breath. Suddenly, in Su Fang's Jiuquan Dao Palace, there was a buzzing sound like a swarm of bees. All the Dao runes of the life-shrinking technique surged out, exuding a shocking aura of Dao runes. It was not to resist the power of destiny. Instead, it was like a strange resonance. It was more like a greeting. The power of destiny that came from the six extreme Tao Saints' heart swept through Su Fang's Jiuquan Dao Palace and the void of destiny. In a flash, it disappeared into the Jiuquan Dao Palace. It was like a gust of wind had blown past, and everything returned to its calm state. Su Fang was shocked and stunned. He had never thought that this would happen. He sensed carefully and found that the power of destiny had not truly disappeared. It was hidden in his Dao Palace and merged with the void of destiny. As far as I know, there is an unwritten rule in the destiny platform. A destiny platform expert cannot use the life-shrinking technique to kill a cultivator who has mastered the life-shrinking technique. Shi Xian Daozu's voice rang out. Clearly, he had expected this. Su Fang was puzzled. Why is that? The destiny platform is extremely mysterious. It controls destiny. As for why there is such a rule, even I am not sure. This time, you are lucky that you have the purple Lux celestial body. Otherwise, you would have been killed instantly and would not have had any chance to react. If you merge with the six extreme Tao Saints' Tao heart, it means that you have fate karma with the destiny platform. In the future, you will definitely be entangled with the destiny platform. It is hard to tell whether it is a blessing or a curse. After ending the conversation with Shi Xian Daozu, Su Fang realized that his body was drenched in sweat. It was as if he had walked on the edge of death. Huff! He let out a long breath and calmed himself down. He began to focus on merging with the six extreme Tao Saints' Tao heart. Buzz! 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 Su Fang's Tao heart suddenly resonated with the six extreme Tao Saints' Tao heart. In an instant, Su Fang felt that he had completely merged with the six extreme Tao Saints' Tao heart and the avatar. He had become the owner of the six extreme Tao Saints' body. With the help of the six extreme Tao Saints' Tao heart, not only could he sense everything inside the six extreme Tao Saints' avatar clearly, he could even control the avatar's power. Inside the water-type avatar, heavy rain continued to fall from the sky. Below, there was a vast ocean world. The 6 Pang clan cultivators worked together to kill a terrifying transparent monster that was thousands of feet tall. The monster's body collapsed and a blue gem flew out. The Pang clan cultivators were surprised and happy. They were about to put the gem away. However, at this moment, an invisible force wrapped around the gem. With a whoosh, it disappeared from the water-type avatar's internal space without a trace. The 6 Pang clan cultivators were stunned and turned into 6 ice statues. In a world where thunder flashed and thunder rumbled, more than a dozen Xian clan cultivators were attacking a monster that had thunder circling around it. QL11 behind the monster, there was a divine tree that was 100 feet tall. The tree trunk and every leaf were flashing with terrifying lightning. More than a dozen golden fruits were hanging on the branches. It was obviously not an ordinary item. Those Xian clan cultivators were the ones who had tried to steal the 6 extreme Dao Saints' Dao Heart. Including Xian Tianhe, the 3 Dao Masters who had come to the 6 extreme Dao Saints' tomb were all among them. Xian Tianhe was heavily injured and naturally did not attack. He stared at the fruits on the divine tree from afar. Chapter 2664. When Xian Tianhe tried to fuse with the 6 extreme Dao Saints' Dao Heart, he suffered a backlash. His 1,000 tempering sword heart, which he had cultivated through countless hardships, was shattered. This meant that not only would it be difficult for him to advance in the future, but his cultivation would also drop. The divine tree that grew in the space of the 6 extreme Dao Saints' lightning avatar was the fruit of the 6 extreme Dao Saints' dermic powers and Daoist rhymes. It was extremely extraordinary. Lightning was the most destructive power, but it also contained infinite vitality. The 6 extreme Dao Saints' realm was shocking. The great Tao of lightning that he had comprehended from the chaos was equally shocking. The reincarnation life and death fruit that he had condensed had the greatest effect of helping cultivators temper their Dao hearts and had the ability to reconstruct their Dao hearts. Xian Tianhe planned to use the reincarnation life death fruit to reconstruct his shattered 1,000 tempering sword heart. However, it wasn't easy to obtain the reincarnation life death fruit. The monster that guarded the samsara fruit of life and death seemed to be a minotaur, yet it wasn't a minotaur. It was a monster formed from a strand of the 6th extreme Dao Saint's will that had devoured the other strands of his will after he perished, and it absorbed the energy and aura of the lightning element avatar. Other than Xian Tianhe, there were 2 other Dao Lords in the Xian clan. However, not only were their cultivations restricted in the space of the 6 extreme Dao Saints' avatar, but the stronger they were, the more they would be corroded by the power of death. Thus, they didn't dare to use their full strength. However, Xian Tianhe was extremely important to the Xian clan. He was even more important than the Xian clan's Grand Elder. In order to help him reconstruct his Dao heart, the Xian clan cultivators didn't hesitate to pay the price. In the end, they sacrificed the lives of 3 Dao Lords to finally kill the lightning monster. Quickly give me the reincarnation life-death fruit. Xian Tianhe was overjoyed and couldn't wait to get the reincarnation life-death fruit. The 3 Dao Lords charged towards the reincarnation life-death fruit. Suddenly a vast and boundless power, like the power of the heavenly Dao, swept up the lightning in the avatar's space and swept the 3 Xian clan cultivators over. Under the shocked and surprised gazes of Xian Tianhe and the other Xian clan cultivators, the 3 Xian clan cultivators didn't even have time to groan before they were devoured by the lightning and turned into ashes. The attack had come too suddenly and was so terrifying that even peerless experts who had surpassed the Dao Lord level would find it difficult to survive such a shocking attack, let alone these 3 Dao Lords. Could it be a powerful will left behind by the 6 extreme Dao Saint? It's the Pang clan. The Pang clan controls the Dao heart of the 6 extreme Dao Saints. That's why they can control the power of the 6 extreme Dao Saints. Damn it, how could the Pang clan fuse the 6 extreme great Dao Saints' Dao heart so easily? The Pang clan actually wants to capture all of us in one fell swoop. Retreat. Quickly leave the Dharmakaya space. Xian Tianhe and the other elites of the Xian clan immediately understood. They were all shocked and wanted to activate the 6 Extreme token to escape from the inner space of the 6 Extreme Path, Holy Thunder Avatar. Rumble. Thunder rumbled in the space as if the end of the world had arrived. The entire space was filled with terrifying thunder elemental energy. The lightning illuminated the space and caused the space to tremble. Under such circumstances, any space Xian Bao couldn't activate the power of space. Otherwise, they would be torn to pieces by the power of space. Countless thunder roared and circled around Xian Tianhe and the other Xian clan cultivators. The terrifying thunder elemental energy that could destroy everything made Xian Tianhe, the number 1 Tao Lord of the Huolua mystical world, tremble. The other Xian clan cultivators were even more so. One of the Xian clan cultivators, whose Tao heart wasn't strong enough, shattered under the impact of the thunder elemental Tao Lords. However, the surrounding thunder didn't intend to kill them. This made them even more certain that someone was controlling everything in the 6 Extreme Path Holy Thunder Avatar. Whoosh! Thunder surged. A figure stepped on the thunder and walked out step by step. He looked like the god of thunder who ruled this world of thunder. Seeing that figure, the Xian clan cultivators were all dumbfounded, including Xian Tianhe, as if they had been struck by lightning. This person is a cultivator with another surname from the Pang clan, Su Fang. He is the one who killed the strong cultivators of the Xian clan. Even Xian Guiming was killed by him. Why is Su Fang here? The Xian clan cultivators finally regained their senses and fell into a state of intense shock. Su Fang condensed the shadow formed by the thunder elemental energy. Lightning flashed in his eyes as he shouted domineeringly, "You have 2 choices now. Either you submit to me, Su Fang, and become my slaves, or you die here." A Xian clan cultivator laughed in disdain. "You are just an ant from a low-level universe. How dare you make us submit to you? You arrogant brat, you must be crazy." Lightning flashed in Su Fang's eyes. He activated the 6 Extreme Path Holy Man's Will and Thunder Elemental Dharma power and struck the Xian clan cultivator. Qi. QL11 The will crushed the cultivator's Tao heart. Even his physical body and Dharma body were turned into dust by the lightning. Xian Tianhe exclaimed, You merged with the 6 Extreme Path Holy Man's Tao heart. How is this possible?" The other Xian clan cultivators were also in disbelief. "You can't do it, but it doesn't mean that Su Fang can't do it." Su Fang regained his aura as the supreme overlord of the Pan Tsang universe. He dominated the Xian clan cultivators. "I had no enmity with the Xian clan, but because I fought for the Pang clan, you sent people to kill me. You wanted to kill me. You didn't expect that you would fall into the hands of Su Fang one day, right? Now your fate is in my hands. Submit to me or die. Make your decision." As soon as Su Fang finished speaking, his powerful will enveloped the strong cultivators of the Xian clan, suppressing their Tao heart and will. Among the strong cultivators of the Xian clan, there was no lack of true strong cultivators. But what they faced now was the will of a Tao saint, and they were in the 6 Extreme Path Holy Man's Dharma body space. How could they resist Su Fang? Under the suppression and impact of the will, even the 2 Tao masters had to lower their heads. The other Xian clan cultivators all trembled and couldn't stand. Xian Tianhe gritted his teeth and raised his head. He shouted angrily, "My clan is one of the top 3 divine clans in the Fire Luo mystic world. How can we submit to an ant from a low-level world? Kill me if you want. I will never submit." Su Fang laughed. "You want to die? That's easy." He activated the 6 Extreme Path Holy Man's will and crushed Xian Tianhe's body. Xian Tianhe's Tao heart was already shattered. Under the suppression of the 6 Extreme Path Holy Man's will, his will completely collapsed. He lost his consciousness and screamed in pain. Then Su Fang shouted, "Old dragon, it's yours." With a thought, the ancestral dragon instantly traveled through the void and appeared in front of Xian Tianhe. A Tao Master and the first Tao Master of the Fire Luo mystic world. What a treasure! The ancestral dragon was so excited that he drooled. He actually treated Xian Tianhe, a strong cultivator, as a treasure. Then, the ancestral dragon started to devour Xian Tianhe's body in front of the other Xian clan cultivators. It was difficult to completely devour Xian Tianhe's body. After all, Xian Tianhe was a Tao Master. His body was extremely strong. It was difficult for the ancestral dragon to swallow him in one bite. Moreover, the ancestral dragon deliberately bit Xian Tianhe's body bite by bite. It looked very cruel. As for Xian Tianhe's Dharma body, because it cultivated the Tao of the sword, it contained the supreme Tao of the sword and unparalleled sword qi. Su Fang extracted the Tao of the sword and sword qi from it to refine the true yang evil-slaying sword. Just like that, the former first Tao Master of the Fire Luo mystic world died. The other Xian clan cultivators were scared out of their wit. The first to speak was a Tao Master. He knelt down and kowtowed to Su Fang. I am willing to submit to you. I will serve Su Fangda as my master. With this Tao Master making a good start, the other Xian clan cultivators did not hesitate. They all knelt down to Su Fang to show their submission. Su Fang asked them to open their souls. With the 6 extreme Tao Saints' will and magic power, he also used the life-shrinking technique to condense a seal seed into the souls of these Xian clan cultivators. In this way, even a Tao Master would not be able to go against Su Fang's will. Moreover, the destiny power of the life-shrinking technique not only shackled their souls, but also merged with their destinies. Even if they wanted to betray, they would not be able to resist the suppression of destiny. Just like that, after Su Fang came to the Jiuquan God realm, he subdued the first batch of powerful slaves. There were even 2 Tao Masters among them. With a thought, Su Fang created a formation inside the Thunder Avatar to shackle these Xian clan cultivators. All of you can recover here for now. When I need you to fight, you can fight for me, Su Fang said majestically. His figure disappeared from the space inside the Thunder Avatar. In the space where the 6 extreme Tao Saints' heart was, Su Fang's face was pale and his spirit was weak. It seemed easy to suppress the Xian clan cultivators just now. However, Su Fang used the 6 extreme Tao Saints' will to control the power inside the Avatar. It consumed a lot of his primordial spirit and Tao heart. The gap between him and the 6 extreme Tao Saint was too big. Although he had successfully merged with the 6 extreme Tao Saints' Tao heart, he still could not fully control the power inside the Avatar. It was like a toddler holding a huge hammer. Although the hammer was powerful, it was a huge burden for the toddler. And this was when he was dealing with the cultivators inside the Avatar. If he were to deal with the cultivators outside the Avatar, Su Fang would have to bear 10 times the consumption. Moreover, the 6 extreme Tao Saints' will inside the Avatar still needed to be merged continuously. Only then could he control these will to attack the enemy. Although the consumption was huge, Su Fang's eyes were very hale and hearty. He revealed a domineering smile. Chapter 2665. All the Xian clan cultivators who entered the 6 extreme Tao Saints' Dharma body must be suppressed. None of them can escape. Su Fang made use of the Tao heart of the 6 extreme Tao Saint to sense every corner of the spiritual body's internal space clearly. Seeing that those were the Xian clan cultivators who were searching for treasures, Su Fang's eyes turned sharp and cold. Su Fang was not a kind person. In terms of methods, he was more ruthless than anyone else. He had to be ruthless, whether it was the mortal world or the world of cultivators, whether it was the Pan-Song universe or the Jiuquan divine realm, they all had to follow the laws of nature. No matter which world it was always you eating me. If Su Fang was not ruthless, how could he have survived until now? Now that the Xian clan had fallen into Su Fang's hands, he naturally would not be soft-hearted. Moreover, he was lacking experts. How could he miss such a good opportunity to suppress experts? The Xian clan lost so many experts in one go. The Xian clan leader must be heartbroken. Su Fang smiled coldly. Although there were only 100 Xian clan cultivators who entered the 6 extreme Dao Saints' Dharma body, they were all elites of the Xian clan. Especially Xian Tianhe, the first Dao master of the Huolua mystical world. They were all suppressed by Su Fang. Even if they did not suffer great losses, they suffered great losses. It would be strange if the Xian clan leader did not vomit blood from anger. As for the Pang clan cultivators, well, since Pang Yen is already dead, I will not make things difficult for them for the sake of the Pang clan leader and the great elder. However, the treasures they obtained all belong to me. How can I let them take them away? Su Fang made up his mind. His divine will used the 6 extreme Dao Saints' Dao heart to envelop the entire Dharma body. The Xian clan cultivators were suppressed by Su Fang's 6 extreme Dao Saints' will. Those who refused to submit were killed. In the end, more than 60 Xian clan experts were restrained by Su Fang and became Su Fang's slave. Some Xian clan cultivators either died in the process of searching for treasures or were suppressed by the Su Fang because they refused to submit, just like Xian Tianhe. The cultivators of the Pang clan were also in trouble. The various gems, spirit items, and other treasures that he had painstakingly obtained were all taken away by Su Fang. Under the supreme will of the 6 extreme Dao Saint, no one could resist, and all of them had no choice but to take out their treasures. Before entering the 6 extreme Dao Saint's celestial body, if Pang Yen had not taken away Su Fang's 6 extreme token, Su Fang would not have treated the Pang clan in such a manner. However, Pang Yen had added insult to injury. At this moment, Su Fang could not be blamed for being merciless. Within the space of the 6 extreme paths holy fire avatar. After Pang Yen failed to merge with the 6 extreme great Dao Saints' Dao heart, the unprepossessing Pang clan cultivator quickly left with the others and entered the internal space of the fire elemental Dharma body. The cultivators of the Pang clan mainly cultivated the great Dao of fire. Every thought, gem, and spiritual item in the fire elemental avatar of the 6 extreme paths were extremely precious to the Pang clan. Hence, after the Pang clan's ancestors' plan had failed, he had rushed here. Deep within the space, the Pang clan cultivator that the Pang clan's ancestor resided in was commanding the other Pang clan cultivators to capture balls of purple gold flame. These dazzling balls of flame were formed by the 6 extreme great Dao Saints' thoughts. They contained the supreme fire elemental great Dao of fire that the 6 extreme great Dao Saint had mastered, as well as his Dharma power and the power of fire. As long as one could fuse with a single thought, comprehend the Tao within it, and refine its magic power, it could save a cultivator millions of years of bitter cultivation. Therefore, any ownerless thought was a rare treasure for the Pang clan cultivators. Suddenly QL11A powerful will descended and covered the entire fire elemental space. The purple gold fireballs seemed to have gained sentience in that instant, and they became restless. The Pang clan cultivator that the Pang clan's ancestor resided in changed his expression instantly. His eyes were filled with disbelief. Could it be that the Xian clan cultivators have merged with the 6 extreme great Dao Saints' Dao heart and controlled the entire avatar? A majestic voice rang out in the fire elemental space. How dare you act so recklessly in my avatar? Leave immediately. Otherwise, don't blame me for being impolite. It doesn't seem like the Xian clan. Could it be that the 6 extreme great Dao Saint hasn't fallen and has regained his consciousness? Let's go. The Pang clan's ancestor was shocked and made a prompt decision. He hurriedly led the Pang clan cultivators and left with the 6 extreme token. Outside the 6 extreme great Dao Saints' avatar, the Pang clan's grand elder and the Xian clan cultivator, Xian Tianqi, were sitting cross-legged in the air. After the Xian clan and Pang clan cultivators entered the avatar, the formation passage was sealed again. The two peerless cultivators were guarding the seal between the Avatar's eyebrows. When the time was up, the two of them would work together to open the seal and release the cultivators of the two clans. 10 years passed in the blink of an eye. It was time to open the seal and release the cultivators of the two clans. Xian Tianqi looked at the sealed formation passage from time to time. His eyes were filled with unconcealable smugness, as if victory was already in his hands. The Grand Elder asked in a low voice, "Could it be that the Xian clan has prepared some powerful means this time? Are you sure that you can return with a full load? Is that why you are so proud?" Xian Tianqi snorted. "Did the Pang clan not prepare anything this time?" The Grand Elder smiled. "Our clan has more people than the Xian clan. Of course, we will return with a full load this time." Xian Tianqi snorted. "Maybe the result will disappoint you." On the plaza, the Pang clan, Xian clan cultivators, Ling Xingchen, Feng Zhenhua, the Feng clan's ancestor, and some other Feng clan cultivators were sitting cross-legged on the plaza. Seeing that the time for the seal to be opened was about to come, Feng Zhenhua looked at the 6 extreme Great Tao Saint Avatar more often. His gaze became sharper. Previously, he had let Su Feng go for no reason. Until now, he still didn't know what had happened. Although Ling Xingchen didn't reprimand him, his dissatisfaction couldn't be more obvious. In the future, Feng Zhenhua would need Ling Xingchen's support in the Taishang 3 profound sects. Now that he had angered Ling Xingchen, he might lose this powerful backer in the future. Therefore, Feng Zhenhua transferred all his anger to Su Feng. "Su Feng, you better not die. I will skin you alive. Time's up. Open the seal." The Pang clan's Grand Elder suddenly opened his eyes and slowly stood up. "I can't wait." Xian Tianqi chuckled, his eyes full of anticipation. The two of them acted at the same time and opened the seal between the eyebrows of the 6 extreme Great Tao Saint Avatar. Swoosh! Swoosh! Everyone's gaze was focused on the array. After the time it took for an incense stick to burn, the Pang clan cultivators passed through the array and came out. There were a total of 200 Pang clan cultivators who entered the space inside the 6 extreme Great Tao Saint Avatar. Now, only 150 of them came out. The space inside the Avatar was extremely dangerous. Every time they entered, cultivators would die. Moreover, it was customary for the two clans to fight and kill each other. Naturally, there would be death. It was normal for so many people from the Pang clan to come out alive. However, Pang Yen was not among the crowd. Moreover, the Pang clan cultivators all had gloomy expressions. This made the Pang clan's Grand Elder's heart sink. He hurriedly sent a thought to the ugly Pang clan cultivator. "Ancestor, did things not go well?" "It's not just not going well. Pang Yen died, the plan to control the Avatar failed, and the treasure hunt was also thwarted." The cultivator snorted. Then, divine light rolled outside. When the Xian clan cultivator did not speak, he raised his eyebrows and asked in surprise, "Not even a single Xian clan cultivator came out?" The Pang clan's Grand Elder replied, "Ancestor probably came out too early. For now, not a single Xian clan cultivator has come out." The cultivator's expression changed slightly. Did the Xian clan succeed this time and merge with the 6 extreme Great Tao Saints' Tao Heart? The Pang clan's Grand Elder was shocked. "It's hard to say now. Let's wait and see." The Pang clan cultivator waved his hand and led the Pang clan cultivators to the square. Then, he stood with his hands behind his back and stared at the array formation passage between the Tao Saint's Avatar's eyebrows. "Looking at the Pang clan cultivators, my clan must have returned with a full harvest. Perhaps the heaven-defying plan has already been completed." Xian Tianqi's smug expression became more and more obvious. Little did he know 6 hours later. The array formation passage remained silent. Not a single Xian clan cultivator came out. The smile on Xian Tianqi's face stiffened. Another 2 hours passed. The array formation passage was still deathly silent. Xian Tianqi finally panicked. The Pang clan's Grand Elder was also shocked. He said, Xian Tianqi, I can't hold on for much longer. In another 5 minutes, if the Xian clan cultivators don't come out, I will give up and the array formation passage will automatically seal itself. Xian Tianqi's face was ashen as he gloomily said, although only half of the people from my clan entered the Tao Saint's Dharma body and we are not as strong as you, how could we all be wiped out in the Dharma body? Did the Pang clan cause trouble? Is that why they all stayed inside? The Pang clan's Grand Elder was also furious. He was about to refute. Suddenly the seal between the Avatar's eyebrows automatically recovered. The space between the Avatar's eyebrows closed and was completely sealed. Xian Tianqi and the Pang clan's Grand Elder were shocked. They quickly activated their dermic powers and tried to open the seal again. However, the seal became extremely firm. Even with their strength, they couldn't open it. This meant that the Xian clan cultivators were all trapped inside the Avatar. In the past, when they entered the 6 Extreme Tao Saints' Avatar, many cultivators stayed inside. However, when they entered the second time, none of them survived. This time, all the Xian clan cultivators were trapped inside. This meant that they were all annihilated. Xian Tianqi clenched his teeth in shock. Pang clan, you're so ruthless. You killed so many of my clan's experts, including Xian Tianhe, and killed them all. Just wait for the war between the Xian clan and the Pang clan. Xian Tianhe also entered the Avatar? But how could the Pang clan kill all the Xian clan cultivators in one fell swoop? The Pang clan's Grand Elder didn't understand. He looked at the Pang clan cultivators where the Pang clan's Grand Elder was staying. Something must have happened inside the 6 Extreme Tao Saints' Avatar. That's why the Xian clan cultivators are trapped inside. Or maybe the Pang clan cultivator where the Pang clan's Grand Elder was staying said in a low voice. Chapter 2666. You actually came here personally. Xian Tianqi was indeed a peerless expert who had surpassed the Tao Lord level. He could tell that the ordinary-looking Pang clan cultivator was extraordinary and was instantly shocked. The Pang clan elder said, "Humph, it's good that you know who I am. If I really wanted to kill those Xian clan cultivators, why would I hide anything? How can I not believe the words of the Pang clan's ancestor?" Xian Tianqi replied respectfully. The Xian clan and Pang clan cultivators did not know what was going on, but there was nothing they could do. They could only wait in the square. Whoosh! Ling Xingchen flew toward the Pang clan cultivators. He cupped his fists at the Pang clan cultivator who was staying with the Pang clan ancestor. Did you see Su Fang inside the Tao Saint celestial body? Su Fang. The Pang clan ancestor was stunned. He then shook his head. Once the 6 Extreme Tao Saint celestial body is sealed again, it cannot be opened again. Since he did not come out, he must have died inside. What a pity! Ling Xingchen looked disappointed. Feng Zhenhua said resentfully, "That ant got lucky." Miss Pang opened her mouth to say something, but she closed it in the end. Since that ant is dead, there is no point in staying here any longer. Let's go. Ling Xingchen said casually. Just as they were about to leave, the Pang clan ancestor suddenly said, "Young Master Ling, the 6 Extreme Tao Saint Celestial Tomb is the secret of our clan and the Xian clan. It is related to the rise and fall of both clans. I hope you and the Feng clan can make a solemn oath to prevent the secret from being leaked." Ling Xingchen was about to speak when the divine light changed. The Pang clan ancestor was also surprised and looked at the 6 Extreme Tao Saint celestial body's forehead. The other cultivators reacted quickly and did the same thing. A crack suddenly appeared in the 6 Extreme Tao Saint celestial body's forehead. The entrance of the array that was sealed was opened again. Then, under everyone's shocked and surprised gazes, a figure came out of the array. Su Fang! He is not dead. The figure that emerged from the seal of the formation was precisely Su Fang. His appearance instantly caused the crowd to exclaim in surprise. Su Fang's divine light swept over everyone, causing them to reveal a look of panic and horror. Then, they instantly turned into a fiery state and escaped back into the inner space of the Dharmakaya. Brat, let's see where you can run to. Xian Tianqi was startled for a moment, then roared angrily. First, a thought jumped out and flashed into the array passage, then his real body followed closely behind Su Fang. There were more than 100 cultivators from the Xian clan who were supposed to be escorting those who entered the avatar to search for treasures. Now that none of them had come out, they couldn't sit still anymore and followed Xian Tianqi into the avatar. Just as the Pang clan's great elder was hesitating about whether or not he should enter, the Pang clan's great elder's voice rang out in his mind. This is very strange. You are not allowed to enter. Although Elder Pang was confused, he had no choice but to obey the ancestor's order. He didn't die? Perfect, I want to use you as a sacrifice for Ling Xingong. Ling Xing was not surprised at all. Then, he smiled darkly. His body flashed, and he instantly appeared in front of the avatar's forehead and flashed into the inner space of the avatar. Feng Zhenhua and the strong cultivator from the Feng clan followed closely behind. They entered the inner space of the avatar and chased after Su Fang. Elder Pang originally wanted to stop them from entering, but he was stopped by the Pang clan's great elder again. Ancestor, what on earth happened? Elder Pang was puzzled after much thought. The Pang clan's great elder glanced at the array passage that was closing between the avatar's eyebrows. His eyes were deep and solemn. I'm afraid this matter is not so simple. Think about it. Why were all the people from the Xian clan trapped inside, but our people were able to come out unscathed? Then, the seal suddenly opened again, and Su Fang appeared so coincidentally. Elder Pang's body trembled, and his eyeballs almost fell out of their sockets. Great Elder, you mean? Su Fang did what our clan and the Xian clan couldn't do? He merged with the Taoist heart of the 6th extreme Tao saint. How is this possible? The Pang clan's great elder said slowly, I'm afraid this is the truth. I still underestimated the strength of the strong cultivator who was hiding by Su Fang's side. That peerless strong cultivator's cultivation must be above mine. He might even not be much weaker than the 6th extreme Tao saint back then. Su Fang suddenly appeared just now. Could it be that he wanted to lure the strong cultivators from the Xian clan, Ling Xingchen, Feng Zhenhua, and the others into the inner space of the avatar and kill them all in one fell swoop? What do you think his purpose is? Elder Pang sucked in a breath of cold air. Then, he felt a lingering fear. Su Fang is so bold and so ruthless. Fortunately, Great Elder is wise and has been trying to rope in Su Fang. Otherwise, the Pang clan would have suffered the same fate as the Xian clan. Humph, that brat is really heartless. Our clan treated him so well, but he even wanted to steal our treasures. The Pang clan's great elder snorted. Humph, if Pang Yen didn't add insult to injury, he wouldn't have done such a heartless thing. He isn't heartless. At least he didn't kill us all. Great Elder, what should we do next? Let's wait and see. That's the only way. Just as the Pang clan's great elder had guessed, Su Fang's sudden appearance was to lure the strong cultivators from the Xian clan and Ling Xingchen into the inner space of the avatar and then suppress them. Although Su Fang had successfully merged with the 6th extreme Great Tao Saint's Great Tao Heart and could use the will of the Great Tao Heart to control the inner space of the avatar, he had just merged with it. In addition, there was a huge gap in his cultivation. In a short time, he couldn't control the entire avatar and unleash the power of the 6th extreme Great Tao Saint. Even a Xian Bao would require an extremely long process to merge with it before it could be activated. What more the avatar of the 6th extreme Great Tao Saint? However, this was a rare opportunity. Su Fang naturally wouldn't miss it. Therefore, Su Fang purposely appeared. He planned to lure the strong cultivators from the Xian clan outside the avatar, as well as Ling Xingchen, Feng Zhenhua, and the strong cultivators from the Feng clan into the inner space of the Avatar. Xian Tianqi charged into the inner space of the Avatar recklessly. In the blink of an eye, his body was sucked away by the twisting power. This was the space power of the great Tao Saint's Avatar. Even with his strength, he couldn't resist it. He could only use his defense and go with the flow. Just as he was being teleported, a powerful and boundless will suddenly descended and attacked his great Tao heart. This will was the supreme ruler of the great Tao Saint's Avatar. Xian Tianqi's strength surpassed that of a great Tao master, but he still couldn't resist the suppression of the will. Moreover, he was currently in a state where he had lost control. Poof! Under the suppression of the powerful will, Xian Tianqi felt as if his soul had been slapped by an invisible hand. His soul trembled, and a shattering sound came from his heart. The sudden suppression of the will caused Xian Tianqi's soul to be severely injured. His great Tao heart also showed signs of shattering. QL11 The soul was the highest source of life. An injury to the soul was 10 times more serious than an injury to the physical body or avatar. It was almost impossible to recover. Although his great Tao heart didn't completely collapse, it was still severely injured. An injury to the soul and great Tao heart meant that Xian Tianqi, a strong cultivator who surpassed a great Tao master, was also severely injured. Su Fang was determined to get this strong cultivator from the Xian clan. Of course, he wouldn't just use the suppression of the will. Next, the twisting power enveloping Xian Tianqi violently attacked his physical body. His physical body was immediately torn apart and shattered. Chi! 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 A sharp light shot out from Xian Tianqi's shattered physical body. It actually tore apart the twisting power of the space. Then, his figure flashed and broke free from the shackles of space. He appeared in the space within the 6 Extreme Tao Saints' Fire Elemental Avatar. Has the 6 Extreme Tao Saint been revived? Impossible! Who ambushed me? Xian Tianqi's physical body was destroyed, and only his avatar was left. Moreover, his soul and great Tao heart were both heavily injured. He was shocked and furious. He no longer had the arrogance and murderous aura he had when he was chasing Su Fang. Swoosh! 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 More than 10 figures passed through the blazing flames. Xian Tianqi wasn't surprised to see these people, and he instantly let down his guard. These cultivators were the Xian clan members who had entered the 6 Extreme Tao Saints' Avatar. The 2 great Tao masters were also among them. One of the Xian clan's great Tao masters asked, "Grand Elder, why are you here?" Xian Tianqi's divine light swept across them. "Where did Xian Tianhe go?" "My lord, Xian Tianhe," the old man revealed a sorrowful expression. Suddenly another Xian clan's great Tao master suddenly transmitted his thoughts to Xian Tianqi. "Grand Elder, Xian Tianhe has been killed. This place is dangerous. Leave quickly." Xian Tianqi was stunned. At this moment, Su Fang's cold voice sounded from all directions. "Betraying me is a capital offense." As soon as he finished speaking, the great Tao master suddenly let out a miserable cry. The seal that Su Fang had planted in the depths of his soul was activated by Su Fang. The great Tao master's soul was instantly obliterated, and he turned into a corpse. "Su Fang, you actually merged with the 6 Extreme Tao Saints' Tao heart?" Xian Tianqi was shocked. Before he could react, the remaining Xian clan cultivators suddenly attacked him with their thoughts. If it was any other time, Xian Tianqi wouldn't have cared about these Xian clan cultivators' thoughts. However, he was already heavily injured, and he didn't expect his clansmen to suddenly attack him. He was caught off guard, and it made things worse. Xian Tianqi let out a furious roar. "All of you betrayed the Xian clan. They are no longer members of the Xian clan. They are Su Fang's slaves." Su Fang stepped on flames and came over. With a thought, a wave of space divine power swept up the Xian clan cultivators, and they instantly left this space. Looking at Su Fang, Xian Tianqi shouted in disbelief, Su Fang, you are just a tiny ant. You actually merged with the 6 extreme Tao Saints' Tao heart and suppressed so many of our clansmen. Su Fang displayed a domineering aura. I am just a tiny ant. Not only did I merge with the 6 extreme Tao Saints' Tao heart and suppress your clansmen, I also want to kill you, the Grand Elder of the Xian clan, who has surpassed the Tao Master level. Today, I will let you know what it means to be an ant devouring an elephant. Then he waved his arm, and flames swept out from the space inside the 6 extreme Tao Saints' fire elemental avatar and swallowed Xian Tianqi. As expected of a peerless expert who had surpassed the Tao Master level, Xian Tianqi was still crazily fighting back even though he was heavily injured. Chapter 2667. Under Su Fang's fierce attacks, the Xian clan's peerless elite, Xian Tianqi, had lost his life. Although he had relied on the 6 extreme Tao Saints' will to kill Xian Tianqi, and it had been a sneak attack, he had still killed a peerless elite who had surpassed the Tao Lord level. This filled Su Fang with great confidence, and he had a domineering smile on his face. However, killing Xian Tianqi wasn't easy. After all, he had merged with the 6 extreme Tao Saints' Tao heart, and it wasn't Su Fang's own strength. It was a huge test for his Tao heart and will. Kai Yu's Tao heart had also become dim, and her spirit was dispirited. He moved his mind. He sensed Ling Xingqian, Feng Zhenhua, the Feng clan elder, and the Xian clan cultivators who had entered the space within the 6 extreme Tao Saints' avatar. Since you've entered, then none of you shall leave. Su Fang raised his eyebrows, and his eyes flashed with murderous intent. However, it was obvious that he couldn't continue attacking in his current state. Feng Zhenhua and the Xian clan cultivators were fine, but Ling Xingqian and the Feng clan elder were only second to Xian Tianqi. Especially Ling Xingqian, who came from the 3 Taishang mysterious sect. He had a peerless divine power and an extraordinary Xian Bao. Killing him wouldn't be any easier than killing Xian Tianqi. If he used the 6 extreme Tao Saints' Tao heart to deal with Ling Xingqian, Su Fang's Tao heart wouldn't be able to bear the burden, and it might even be destroyed. He had to exhaust their strength first. In fact, there was no need for Su Fang to attack personally. Within the avatar space, the 6 extreme Tao Saints' fate had been erased by the Destiny Stage's life-shrinking art. His entire avatar was in a state of constant decay, and no power could reverse the decay. Even a peerless elite like the Pang clan elder couldn't bear it. The stronger Ling Xingqian and the others were, the more they would be affected by the decay power within the avatar space. Furthermore, the ownerless thoughts that the 6 extreme Tao Saint had left in the avatar would become more and more active. In addition to the monsters that were formed from evil thoughts, even without Su Fang's help, they could slowly torture Ling Xingqian and the others to death. Su Fang, who was inside the Tao Saint's celestial body, was also constantly being eroded by the power of death. However, his cultivation level was only at the Tao Jin realm. In addition, he had the Tianji life-shortening technique. The power of death came from the Tianji life-shortening technique. Hence, the erosion he endured was much weaker than Ling Xingqian and the others. Moreover, he could leave the Tao Saint's spell body at any time. Naturally, he was not afraid of wasting time with Ling Xingqian and the others. Su Fang reached out and grabbed at the air. A mass of blood energy quickly gathered in his palm. It was the remnant blood energy of Xian Tianqi's body that had been killed. Every drop of blood from a peerless expert who had surpassed a Tao Lord was the essence. Su Fang naturally couldn't let it go to waste. It was a pity that Xian Tianqi's avatar had been destroyed. His Tao heart and willpower had completely collapsed. In addition, his strength was far inferior to the 6 extreme Tao Saint. Hence, he didn't leave behind any thoughts. Otherwise, it would be an excellent material for cultivation. Following that, Su Fang took a step forward and broke through the air. Within the 6 extreme Tao Saint celestial body, he was the supreme ruler. He could travel through space as he wished. After returning to the space where the 6 extreme Tao Saint's heart was, Su Fang ordered the remaining Xian clan Daolord experts under him to destroy all the formations that the Pang clan and Xian clan had secretly left behind. Then, he covered the entire space within the avatar space with his consciousness. He paid attention to the actions of Ling Xingqian and the others. At the same time, he merged his primordial spirit, Xianyang, violet fate, and heavenly Tao bodies with his body and started to cultivate and recover. Who knew that while he was in the state of constantly devouring elixirs, the life essence of experts, and the power of the avatar space, his body and avatar space suddenly started to tremble. This was because he had absorbed the life and energy of the experts' bodies and avatar space. It was surging within his body, causing a shocking commotion. What he had devoured was only the body and avatar of the Ling clan's Daolord experts that had been killed by the mysterious black shadow in the desert. However, it was extremely abundant and directly poured into Su Fang's body. The tremors that it brought to him, a mere cultivator at the lower realm of Tao truth, were extremely shocking. If not for the fact that his body and avatar space were extremely strong and his body was extremely deep, he would not have been able to withstand it. Su Fang started to activate the blood qi in his body. At the same time, he also activated the world fragment, the power of the yin-yang world, and the power of Xianyang. He did his best to suppress the terrifying power that came from the Daolord expert. Then, he slowly refined and merged them. Sizzle! In just a few short years, under the shocking impact within his body, impurities started to surge out from under Su Fang's skin. Qi. Tribulation qi shot out from Su Fang's body and immediately turned into blazing tribulation fire. His body, avatar, and Jiuxuan Dao Palace were finally shattered and impacted. More impurities kept surging out from his body. The terrifying impact lasted for 3 months. At the same time, Su Fang also endured 3 months of intense pain. The impact finally ended. Su Fang looked at his body, avatar, and Jiuxuan Dao Palace again. They had all reached the middle realm of Tao truth. There were many cultivators at the middle realm of Tao truth in the Fire Luo mystic world. However, in the eyes of the mystic world's cultivation forces like the Pang clan and the Xian clan, they were still insignificant However, Su Fang's true strength now far surpassed that of a Daolord cultivator. He could even kill a Daolord easily with his various techniques. Then, Su Fang started to wantonly devour elixirs and the life essence of experts to replenish his empty body and avatar. QL11 Next, Su Fang stabilized his state and started to do another big thing. That was to increase the quality of the Xian Huang 6 Paths Pagoda. He was prepared to use this life treasure as a foundation to cultivate the Xian Huang avatar. This time, he had unexpectedly obtained the 6 extreme Tao Saints avatar. However, Su Fang was not blinded by the huge opportunity. Although the Tao Saints avatar could give him great strength, it was still an external force. Increasing one's own cultivation was the foundation of cultivation. Moreover, the 6 extreme Tao Saints avatar was constantly disappearing. It could not be used by Su Fang forever. Su Fang directly used his mind to grab gems and spiritual items of the 6 extreme Tao Saints avatar from the internal space of the 6 extreme Tao Saints avatar. Then, he grabbed in the air again. There were more than 100 ownerless thoughts that contained the 6 extreme Tao force and Taoist rhymes. These gems and spiritual items were injected into the Xian Huang 6 Paths Pagoda by Su Fang. The Xian Huang 6 Paths Pagoda continuously absorbed them and changed its quality. The Xian Huang 6 Paths Pagoda was in a state of fusion with Su Fang's physical body. Otherwise, the vast amount of high-grade energy resources would cause the avatar to explode. Su Fang separated these thoughts from his primordial spirit consciousness to fuse and comprehend the Taoist rhymes and laws within. After completely grasping them, Su Fang would form a formation within the Xian Huang 6 Paths Pagoda. This way, the avatar could be upgraded to the height of the Xianbao. Then, it could be used as a foundation to cultivate the avatar. Cultivating a new avatar was an extremely long process. However, Su Fang was not in a hurry. He also did not lack resources. One day, he would cultivate the fifth avatar. At that time, Su Fang would once again possess the 6 extreme Dao powers. Time passed. Unknowingly, 1,000 years had passed. Su Fang was immersed in the state of cultivation, constantly increasing his strength. Ling Xingchen and the others who chased him into the internal space of the 6 extreme Dao Saint Avatar were in big trouble. The withering energy within the avatar was constantly eroding everything. In addition, they were constantly encountering monsters formed by thoughts. All of them were in a sorry state, especially the Xian clan cultivators. More than 30 of them had already died. They originally thought that it would be easy to capture Su Fang. However, after using all kinds of methods, they could not even find a trace of Su Fang. Even Xian Tianqi had disappeared. Only then did Ling Xingchen and the others realize that something was wrong. They prepared to leave the 6 extreme Dao Saint Avatar. In the internal space of the Wood Avatar, Ling Xingchen, Feng Zhenhua, and the Feng clan elder were gathered together. Ling Xingchen did not look any less domineering as he said in a deep voice, "Things are very strange. It's not worth it to continue staying in the internal space of the Dao Saint Avatar for a mere ant like Su Fang. Let's leave quickly." The Feng clan elder smiled bitterly and said, "This Dao Saint Avatar is an independent world. It's easy to enter but not easy to leave. Not to mention us, even our clan leader would find it difficult to do so." Feng Zhenhua did not mind and said, "Granduncle, don't worry. With young Master Ling around, there's no place that can trap us. Granduncle, don't forget about the 3 supreme divine powers of the Taishang 3 mysterious sects." The Feng clan elder's eyes lit up. That's right. The 3 supreme divine powers of the Taishang 3 mysterious sects control time, space, and the will of heaven. Young Master Ling has learned the true teachings of the 3 supreme divine powers of the Taishang 3 mysterious sects. I'm sure the Dao Saint Avatar will not be able to restrain young Master Ling. No wonder young Master Ling dares to take the risk. Ling Xingchen smiled casually, revealing an incomparable arrogance and domineering aura. Suddenly Su Fang's domineering and cold voice resounded in the internal space of the Avatar. "If you want to leave, you'll have to ask if I, Su Fang, agree to it." Then, with a flash of divine radiance, Su Fang stepped out from the void. Feng Zhenhua and the Feng clan elder's divine radiance changed. Ling Xingchen's eyes flashed with a trace of radiance as he stared at Su Fang. "You're able to move freely in the Dao Saint Avatar. It seems like you've merged with the 6 extreme Dao Saints' remnant will." As expected of an exceptional genius from the Taishang 3 mysterious sects, he could see through the clues with just a glance. The Feng clan elder revealed an incredulous expression. "You're just a lowly ant from the Pan Tsang universe. You've merged with the 6 extreme Dao Saint Avatar? How is this possible? In your eyes, I'm just an ant. And in this Dao Saint Avatar, you're just an ant. Your life is in my hands. Killing you is as easy as flipping my hand." Su Fang shouted domineeringly as he stretched out his hand and pointed at the Feng clan expert. The 6 extreme Dao Saint Avatars' will and all the power in the internal space of the Avatar were triggered by Su Fang. Rumble. Under the suppression of the supreme will, the Feng clan expert's soul and Dao heart were trembling. He was unable to resist at all. His physical body, Dao Palace, and the Avatar within the Dao Palace were shattered layer by layer under the impact of the vast energy. "How can I allow you to be so presumptuous in front of me? Even if you've merged with the 6 extreme Dao Saint Avatar's will, you're still not qualified to kill in front of me. Heavenly Dao will, heart-shattering sword." Ling Xingchen let out a majestic voice. A sword aura that contained a type of supreme heavenly Dao will swept out with a powerful might that could crush all wills. Chapter 2668. Heaven's Will Heart-Shattering Sword. It contained the supreme will of the Great Path and actually shattered the 6 extreme Great Path Saints' will with a single strike. The 3 supreme profound sects are indeed terrifying. Su Fong was shocked and he laughed coldly. Inside the 6 extreme Tao Saint's celestial body, his will is indestructible. Let's see how many times you can destroy it. Swish, swish. Streaks of thought that contained the will of the 6 extreme Great Path Saint Heart, Dharma Power, and Taoist Rhyme. Under the control of Su Fong's consciousness, they turned into streaks of green figures that charged towards Ling Xingchen, Feng Zhenhua, and the elder from the Feng clan. Ling Xingchen's divine light changed slightly. The old man of the Feng clan bellowed, "Su Fong, if you dare to attack me, the Feng clan will not rest until you are dead. Not only you, but all the creatures in the Pan Tsong universe will be buried with you." These words made Su Fong snort disdainfully. "Even if I don't kill you, do you think the Feng clan will let me go? You still want to use the Pan Tsong universe to threaten me. Not only you, it won't be long before I personally visit the Feng clan to seek justice for the Heavenly Lady." Feng Zhenhua sneered in disdain and threatened, "Su Fong, don't forget senior brother Xing Chen's and my status. If we lose even a single hair, the 3 highest profound sects will tear your tendons and skin you alive." 3 supreme profound sects? Other than using power to oppress others, what else do you have? Without the power behind you, all of you are nothing. I will pluck out all the hair on your body. Let's see what the 3 supreme profound sects can do to me. Su Fongda laughed mockingly. With a wave of his hand, the densely packed green figures transformed into a dense green aura that swept over. Wood-type energy roared like a vast ocean. The green aura instantly transformed into flowers, plants, and trees that grew and surged wildly. Puff, puff. All the flowers, grass, and trees had grown to the extreme. They all exploded, turning into terrifying life energy and the aura of the Great Path of Wood. It contained the will of the 6 extreme Great Path Saint. It attacked Ling Xingchen, the elder of the Feng clan, and Feng Zhenhua's body and will. Sky-splitting seal. Ling Xing'ang's expression was serious. Facing such a horrifying attack, he had to take it seriously. He had to use his true abilities. He quickly fused his Dharma body with his physical body and launched a series of Dharma seals, forming a space collapse zone around him that devoured the vast energy attack. However, Su Fong's attack contained will and rhymes of ways that could not be devoured. It wildly battered their souls and minds. Facing 6 extreme Tao Saints' terrifying willpower and Tao presence aura impact, Ling Xingchen was unable to withstand it. Feng Zhenhua was immediately in a severely injured state. Ling Xingchen and the elder from the Feng clan were also severely injured. Ling Xingchen made another hand seal. The power of time suddenly erupted, causing the surrounding flow of time to slow down. Su Fong's attack was also being worn down by the power of time. After using this time God art, Ling Xingchen's spirit immediately withered. "Su Fong, I will remember you," Ling Xing shouted coldly. He flipped his right hand and took out a rune talisman. Seeing that the situation was not good, Ling Xingchen planned to escape. After the rune talisman was activated, it exploded with a shocking power of space, enveloping the 3 of them. Immediately, the space began to distort and was about to pull the 3 of them out of the 6 extreme Tao Saints' Dharma body. At this critical moment, Ling Xingchen had no choice but to take out a life-saving rune talisman. It was of a much higher level than Feng Zhenhua's. It could even break through the 6 extreme Tao Saints' Dharma body. Bang! Su Fong's eyes suddenly emitted a mysterious purple light, enveloping the 3 of them who were about to escape. The purple light actually passed through the distorting power of space around the 3 of them and landed on their bodies. It wrapped around their fate and turned into a purple gas that flowed out of their bodies. All of this happened in the blink of an eye. Although it was only a short time, The aura of the three of them underwent an obvious change in an instant. They were enveloped by a strange and ominous power, and their bodies emitted an aura of misfortune and disaster. Purple fate, Dharma body, devouring fate. Whoosh! The three of them were enveloped by the distorting power of the rune talisman and disappeared from the Dharma body without a trace. They actually managed to escape. Su Fang felt that it was a pity. It seemed like he had underestimated Ling Xingchen's strength and the power of the three highest mysterious sects. Immediately, Su Fang sneered. However, their fate was devoured by my purple fate Dharma body. Although they won't be as unlucky as Ling Xingong, they won't have any good luck to accompany them in the future. That Feng Zhenhua was planted with the life-leading karma thread by me. I'll keep him as a spy to deal with the Feng clan. As for Ling Xingchen, it won't be long before I surpass you. Next, he still had to deal with the Xian clan cultivators who had entered the Dharma body. Whoosh! From within the statue of the six extreme Tao Saints' Dharma body, a distorting power suddenly appeared and swept three figures out. They were Ling Xingchen, Feng Zhenhua, and the Feng clan cultivator who had escaped from the Dharma body with the help of the rune talisman. The moment they appeared, Ling Xingchen opened his mouth and spat out a mouthful of essence blood. The essence blood contained the power of space and caused the space to tremble. Although Ling Xingchen had escaped from the Dharma body's Dharma body when he broke through the shackles, he was still affected by the spatial tremors caused by the Dharma body's Dharma body. His physical body was injured and his Tao palace was shaken. Su Fang Ling Xingchen stared at the six extreme Tao Saints' Dharma body. His eyes flashed with a sharp killing intent. As a peerless genius of the three highest mysterious sects, Ling Xingchen had experienced failure before. However, it was different this time. QL11 The injuries to his physical body, Dharma body, and Xiantian Tao palace were secondary. To any cultivator, having their fate devoured was an extremely serious matter. Ling Xingchen had a supreme Dharma body that contained the will of the heavenly Tao. He was clearer about this than other cultivators. Moreover, Su Fang had a supreme Dharma body that could devour fate. This made Ling Xingchen even more furious and fearful. Such a person was only at the true Tao realm. Once he matured, he would definitely be a mortal enemy. Feng Zhenhua also gritted his teeth and said, "Senior brother Xingchen, why don't we stay here and wait for Su Fang to come out, idiot? Once Su Fang can use the power of the six extreme Tao Saint, who can fight against him? Let's leave quickly and ask the sect's experts to help." Ling Xingchen decisively rejected Feng Zhenhua's suggestion. Then, without hesitation, he flew towards the outside of the divine tomb. Feng Zhenhua was scolded until his face was ashen. He looked at the six extreme Tao Saints' Dharma body with resentment. Then, together with the Feng clan's experts, he hurriedly left with the other Feng clan expert. The remaining members of the Pang clan could guess what had happened inside the six extreme Tao Saints' Dharma body from the looks of Ling Xingchen and the others. They were all extremely shocked. After a moment of silence, the cultivator of the Pang clan that the Pang clan's old ancestor was residing in shouted at the statue, "Congratulations to young master Su Fang for obtaining a supreme creation." The cultivators of the Pang clan were all stunned. The six extreme Tao Saints' Dharma body was a treasure that belonged to both the Pang clan and the Xian clan. Now that it had been taken away by Su Fang, the Pang clan had lost their treasure. However, the old ancestor did not try to take it back. Instead, he congratulated Su Fang. It was really strange. However, everyone quickly understood. Now that Su Fang had merged with the six extreme Tao Saints' will, it meant that he had control of the six extreme Tao Saints' Dharma body. At this moment, even the Pang clan's old ancestor could not do anything to Su Fang. Moreover, the Pang clan's old ancestor was sure that Su Fang had a peerless expert by his side. Therefore, he did not dare to touch Su Fang. Rather than provoking a strong enemy for the Pang clan, it was better to do a favor. The Pang clan's old ancestor is indeed very righteous. I, Su Fong, will remember the Pang clan's favor. Take these thoughts and spiritual items as a little compensation to the Pang clan. Su Fong's voice came from the statue. Then, a crack appeared between his eyebrows. Flaming Xian Guang flashed out from it. Among these flaming Xian Guang, there were spiritual items born from the fire Dharma body. There were also the thoughts of the 6 extreme Tao Saint. There were more than 300 of them. If there were no accidents, the Pang clan would be able to get this many treasures from the Dharma body. Thank you, young Master Su Fong. The Pang clan's old ancestor was overjoyed. He absorbed all the flaming Xian Guang into his body. The 3 supreme mysterious sects, the Feng clan, and the Xian clan will definitely send out peerless experts to make a comeback. Young Master Su Fong, you should leave as soon as possible. I will take my leave first. If there is a chance in the future, I will invite young Master Su Fong to the Pang clan as a guest. The Pang clan's old ancestor cupped his fists at the statue. Then, he led all the Pang clan's people out of the square. 10 days later, Su Fong walked out from the array of the 6 extreme Tao Saints' Dharma body. He used his sensing ability and the heavenly secret life shrinking technique to sense the outer space of the divine tomb. It seems like everyone has left. However, just as the Pang clan's old ancestor has guessed, the experts from the 3 supreme mysterious sects will make a comeback soon. I should leave as soon as possible. Su Fong made up his mind and immediately used his thoughts. Rumble. The 6 extreme Tao Saints' Dharma body that even the Pang clan's old ancestor could not shake shook violently. The runes and the vast array on it flashed with shocking divine light and burst out with terrifying divine power. Keep! Su Fong's body was trembling. His face was pale and he suddenly shouted angrily. The great Tao Saint's Dharma body shrunk rapidly and was absorbed into the Jiuxuan Tao Palace by Su Fong. The 6 extreme Tao Saints' Dharma body is finally in my hands. Including all the treasures inside the Dharma body, they all belong to me, Su Fong. I will use the 6 extreme Tao Saints' Dharma body to rise up in the divine domain of the Jiuxuan. Su Fong revealed a domineering smile. The aura of a supreme overlord in the past rose from his body. Rumble. The space began to shake violently. The 6 extreme Tao Saints' Dharma body was merged with the entire divine tomb. Now that the Dharma body was taken away by Su Fong, the divine tomb's space began to collapse, causing an earth-shattering commotion. It seems like I have no choice but to leave. Su Fong wiped the sweat from his forehead and took out a xian bao. It was the fire cloud flying carriage that Su Fong had taken from Miss Pang. After being in the 6 extreme Tao Saints' Dharma body for more than 1,000 years, Su Fong had already merged with the xian bao. It was now time to use it. Chapter 2669. Su Fong steered the flaming cloud flying carriage and sped through the cold, desolate, and vast primal chaos. They encountered countless dangers along the way, but Su Fong carefully avoided them all. There were also a few times when they encountered some powerful foreign races and monsters. Su Fong and the experts under him had no choice but to fight in the primal chaos before they could escape. Su Fong didn't stay idle along the way. The large amount of thoughts and treasures in the 6 extreme Tao Sage celestial body required an extremely long time to gradually transform into his strength. By constantly devouring the various treasures in the celestial body's space, his physical body, Xian Yang celestial body, and Heaven's Path celestial body were improving at an astonishing speed. Xian Wang's 6 Paths Pagoda's quality was also improving at an astonishing speed. The 6 spiritual items that came from the 6 extreme Tao Sage celestial body were similar to the Earth origin stalactite. In any mystic world, they were treasures that even Tao Lords would be envious of. How could Xian Wang's 6 Paths Pagoda's improvement speed not be astonishing? It wouldn't take long for Xian Wang's 6 Paths Pagoda to become Xian Bao. At that time, he would be able to cultivate the Xian Huang celestial body. At the same time, Su Fang was further integrating with the 6 extreme Tao Sage celestial body. However, the integration was extremely difficult. The main reason was that his cultivation was too low. There was a world of difference between him and the 6 extreme Tao Sage. Even if he had integrated with his Tao heart, it wasn't easy for him to unleash the 6 extreme Tao Sage's strength. In the internal space of the 6 extreme Tao Sage's lightning celestial body, Su Fang obtained the reincarnation extermination fruit and continuously refined his Tao heart. This caused his previously damaged Tao heart to become sturdy again. Moreover, after the continuous refinement of the reincarnation extermination fruit, the rainbow jade Tao heart released an even brighter light. His Tao heart was like a perfect rainbow jade. Ancestral Gragon was also improving at an astonishing speed in the internal space of Su Fang's Heaven's Path celestial body with the help of large amounts of resources. In the internal space of the Heaven's Path celestial body, the experts that Su Fang brought out from the Pansong universe were devouring large amounts of high-grade resources. Many of them had reached the Transcendence realm, mainly Emperor experts like Xiao Wanting, Sang Qiu, Wei Dao, Xuanxin, and the others' improvements were extraordinary as well. However, they were still far from transcending. They needed time to settle down. There were 2 groups of Xian clan cultivators suppressed by Su Fang. There were more than 150 people in total. Among them, there was a powerful Tao Lord. Su Fang moved him from the 6 extreme Tao Saint celestial body to avoid whirlpool in the Jiuxuan Tao Palace. He sealed him inside with a formation and gave them many resources to cultivate. Time passed. Unknowingly, 1,000 years had passed. QL11 Su Fang, who was sitting cross-legged in an independent space inside the fire cloud flying car, suddenly opened his eyes, revealing a look of joy. After 1,000 years of fusion, I can finally use a portion of the 6 extreme Tao Saint's power. Although I can only use it once with my current strength, and it's not even 1% of the 6 extreme Tao Saint's power, it's enough to be my trump card. Su Fang's heart was filled with great joy. However, he was immediately startled, and, it's been more than 1,000 years, so why haven't we reached the profound world yet? In the chaos, one needed the profound positioning disc to not get lost. Su Fang had killed so many experts, so he naturally had the profound positioning disc in his hands. With the fire cloud flying car's speed, it should have crossed the chaos and reached the nearest profound world in more than 1,000 years. Now, it was still flying in the chaos, which made Su Fang wonder if he had gone in the wrong direction. He took out the profound positioning disc and reconfirmed his position. Su Fang discovered that the profound positioning disc had lost its function, and the chaos around him was in a sealed state. Su Fang used the Great Perfection ability, and at the same time used the Heavenly Divination solution to sense the surrounding space. As a result, his divine light changed instantly. The chaos around him was in a distorted whirlpool state. In other words, the fire cloud flying car had been spinning in this distorted space since an unknown time, and had not flown far at all. That was not all. In this distorted space, there was also the power of time, which made the surrounding time flow faster. This 1,000 years was not really 1,000 years. Could it be that we've fallen into a natural trap in the chaos? Su Fang's heart sank. The chaotic void seemed to have nothing, yet it contained unimaginable dangers. Once one fell deep into it, then not to mention a truth Tao cultivator like Su Fang, even a Tao Lord or a peerless expert that surpassed a Tao Lord might lose their lives. He immediately calmed down and continued to sense. No, this distorted space is naturally formed. Someone is controlling a supreme Xian Bao to distort space and accelerate time. Su Fang mastered the Heavenly Divination solution and had the Purple Fate celestial body, so he could distinguish the difference between the power of the Xian Bao and the natural trap. Space and time are supreme great Taos. A Xian Bao that can display such power is definitely not an ordinary cultivator. It can only be from the three highest mysterious sects. Su Fang speculated and immediately understood. Is this person Ling Xingchen, or a peerless expert that Ling Xingchen invited from the three highest mysterious sects? It shouldn't be Ling Xingchen. Although he escaped with his life, he was heavily injured. He definitely wouldn't dare to chase after me. It must be an expert from the three highest mysterious sects. Calm down, I have to calm down. Otherwise, I won't be able to escape the fate of being suppressed. Su Fang's colorful jade Dao heart emitted waves of cool and gentle aura, causing Su Fang to quickly calm down. Then, Su Fang began to think of a way to escape. Outside the distorted space Su Fang was trapped in, there was a praying mat floating in the chaos. The praying mat released an empty space power, isolating the cold and deathly still chaotic aura outside. In the space inside the praying mat, a white-haired old woman sat cross-legged in the center. At the edge of the praying mat sat a young man. It was Ling Xingchen. The old woman wore a black robe and looked very old. Her skin was like the bark of a withered tree. Her aura was empty, as if she was beyond the chaos. 100 miles in front of them, a black flag that was 10 meters long was floating. It was constantly shaking and emitting waves of space distortion and time acceleration divine might that enveloped Su Fang. Under the envelopment of the flag's Xian Bao's power, Su Fang was constantly circling in a small area. It was like a ghost that mortals encountered. Moreover, the flow of time within the Xian Bao's divine might was 10 times faster than outside. Su Fang had spent over 1,000 years inside, but only 10 years had passed outside. Ling Xingchen suddenly said, "Elder Zhuexian, why don't you directly act and suppress Su Fang? Why do you have to go through so much trouble?" The white-haired old woman said in a hoarse and gloomy voice, "This person dares to look down on our three highest mysterious sects. He even devoured your fortune and destroyed your foundation. How can we let him off so easily? I want this person to die in endless despair like an ant that has fallen into a hopeless situation." The white-haired old woman's voice caused Ling Xingchen to shudder. The white-haired old woman was called Zhuexian, and she was an elder of the three highest mysterious sects Punishment Hall. Her cultivation had surpassed a Dao Lord, and she was narrow-minded. She would seek revenge for the smallest grievance, and her methods were extremely ruthless. Ling Xingchen looked at the fiery cloud-flying chariot in the distorted space. Su Fang was still flying forward, seemingly unaware that he had fallen into a trap. A trace of pity surged in Ling Xingchen's deep eyes. It was as if he could imagine the despair and pain Su Fang would suffer in the end. "You dared to kill my brother and devour my fortune. You only have yourself to blame for this outcome." Ling Xingchen's eyes flashed with delight and ruthlessness. Then, he turned to Zhuexian and said, "Elder Zhuexian, please hand Su Fang's corpse to me after we've suppressed him. My younger brother died because of him, and he even devoured my fortune. I must tear him into 1,000 pieces to vent my hatred." Zhuexian snorted coldly, "Ling Xingchen, you're probably interested in some treasure on him, right? The older, the wiser." She could tell Ling Xingchen's intention at a glance. Ling Xingchen smiled embarrassedly, "I can't hide it from you. He has a treasure that I need, but it's not very useful to you." The treasure he was talking about was naturally the 6 extreme Dao Saints' celestial body that Su Fang obtained. He intentionally hid this from Zhuexian. Otherwise, he wouldn't have had the chance to obtain it. Zhuexian said, "He's just a true Dao realm cultivator. The treasure on him naturally won't catch my eye. However, he has the ability to devour fortune. It's really extraordinary. I must get it." Ling Xingchen was secretly anxious. If he suppressed Su Fang and searched his soul, all of his secrets would be exposed. Moreover, Ling Xingchen was worried that as time passed, Su Fang would completely control the 6 extreme Dao Saints' celestial body. When he unleashed the supreme power of the 6 extreme Dao Saint, even Zhu Xian wouldn't be able to suppress him. Just as Ling Xingchen and Zhu Xian were discussing how to divide Su Fang, there was a sudden change. A mysterious purple gas, which carried a godly aura of controlling the Xian Bao, shot up into the sky from the flaming cloud flying carriage. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. Under the impact of this godly aura, the Xian Bao that could distort space and accelerate time started to tremble uncontrollably. The aura it released became chaotic. At this moment, Su Fang flew out from the flaming cloud flying carriage and absorbed the flying carriage into his body. His Xianyang celestial body merged with his physical body. He used the burning light escape technique and instantly turned into a magical state of fire. Qi. The fire shot out. Taking advantage of the fact that the Xian Bao's godly aura was weakened and became chaotic, he flashed out of the godly aura's range. After rushing out of the Xian Bao's shackles, Su Fang didn't stop at all. With a flash of fire, he disappeared into the chaos. Ling Xingchen was shocked and astonished. His eyes flashed with surprise and disbelief. Zhu Xian snorted and said, "This ant is indeed extraordinary. He actually has the ability to control the Xian Bao. He even mastered the long-lost burning light escape technique. No wonder you, Ling Xingchen, suffered such a great loss in his hands." After that, she unhurriedly put away the flag dark treasure, and then she urged the meditation cushion to slowly pursue towards the direction that Su Fang fled towards. The praying mat seemed to be floating slowly, but it was actually drifting through space. In a flash, it traveled through the endless void. Chapter 2670. Weakling, I can suppress you with just a thought. Let's see how you're going to escape from me. On the futon, Executioner Grandma's murky eyes flashed with a sinister light as a thought flashed out from her forehead. In an instant, the thought ignored the restrictions of space and time and appeared above Su Fang in a flash. QL11, it was as if the will of the heavenly Tao had descended and was going to suppress Su Fang. The three supreme mysterious sects have gone too far. Under the pressure of the will, Su Fang's burning light escape technique was immediately interrupted and he returned to his normal state. Facing the terrifying pressure of the will, Su Fang immediately merged his Tao heart with the six extreme Tao saints' will and released it. The two formless wills clashed together. Executioner Grandma controlled the will of the heavenly Tao. Not to mention a Tao Jin realm cultivator, even an ordinary Tao master would have his Tao heart crushed and his will collapse. However, the six extreme Tao saints' will was also extremely powerful. After clashing with Executioner Grandma's will, it shattered. Su Fang was affected and felt as if his Tao heart had been hit by a heavy hammer. He staggered. Fortunately, Su Fang had used the reincarnation life and death fruit to refine his Tao heart over the past 1,000 years. Thus, his Tao heart had become even sturdier. Coupled with the six extreme Tao saints' will, Su Fang only felt a little uncomfortable. His body flashed and the flame-stomped treasured boots on his feet were instantly activated. His body shot out and he used the burning light escape technique again to escape into the depths of chaos. How can a Tao Jin realm cultivator have such a powerful will? Executioner Grandma raised her white eyebrows and her face turned pale. Many powerful experts had lost their will to resist when they were suppressed by her will of the heavenly Tao. Now that she had lost to a Tao Jin realm cultivator in front of her sect disciples, Executioner Grandma was obviously embarrassed. This ant is qualified for me to spend some effort on him. Executioner Grandma snorted coldly. The futon beneath her flashed again and disappeared from the chaos. When she reappeared, she was less than 10,000 miles away from Su Fang. Square cage, suppression. Grandmother Executioner released another thought. A formless cage immediately appeared in the space around Su Fang and rapidly shrunk, trying to shackle Su Fang within. So what if he's a peerless expert from the three supreme profound sects? Don't even think about suppressing my Su Fang with a mere thought. Su Fang did not hesitate to fuse his spiritual will with the thoughts within the six extreme Tao Saint celestial body. A string of lightning flashed from between his eyebrows and turned into hundreds of thoughts. Thunderbolts burst out and shattered the space cage around him, shattering Heartbreaker's thoughts. On the other hand, Su Fang seized the opportunity to break free from the shackles. Once again, he used the burning light escape technique to escape from Executioner Grandma's range of control. The Executioner Granny's bark-like face turned pale when her idea was exposed. Her eyes flashed with rage as she said, "If I let you get away again, how am I going to save my face? This seat wants to see what other tricks you have." Chi. Grandmother Executioner Granny used her futon to chase after Su Fang. This time, she released more than 10 thoughts at once. Not only did the thoughts contain her supreme will, but they also contained the time and space grand Taoist rhymes. The power released caused the flow of time around Su Fang to slow down and space to distort. No matter how fast the burning light escape technique was, it could not be used effectively and it could only hover on the spot. At the same time, the will and Taoist rhymes attacked Su Fang's Tao Palace and Tao Heart. After letting Su Fang escape consecutively, Grandmother Executioner Granny was truly enraged. She wanted to suppress Su Fang regardless of the cost. The six extreme Tao Saint has plenty of thoughts. Let's see who can beat the other. Su Fang's eyes flashed with viciousness and determination. Hundreds of thoughts were fused by his primordial spirit and will and swept out from the six extreme Tao Saint celestial body. Rumble! The collision of dermic powers and energy caused an earth-shattering explosion in the chaotic void space, causing the void space within a few million miles to tremble. Although the battle of will and Taoist rhymes was silent, it was even more shocking. It was equivalent to the battle between the six extreme Tao Saint and Grandmother Executioner Granny. Although Su Fang was only affected, his physical body and Xian Yang celestial body were severely injured. Even his Tao Palace and Tao Heart were affected, causing cracks to appear. However, Su Fang finally broke through the shackles once again. He swallowed more than 10 ancient elixirs in one go and activated the burning light escape technique with all his might, disappearing into the chaotic void. In a flash, Su Fang flew across a few million miles of void space. "I can't go on like this. I will be suppressed by the experts of the three highest mysterious sects sooner or later." Su Fang was anxious. Suddenly in the chaotic void ahead, a black spot suddenly appeared. It expanded at an alarming speed and turned into a huge black hole. A brutal and violent aura surged out from the depths of the black hole, causing Su Fang to tremble in fear. The heavenly secret life shrinking technique and the heavenly secret unraveling true scripture were flashing crazily, indicating that fatal danger was about to appear from the black hole. At the same time, the cattail hassock with the ability to escape brought Zhu Xian Granny and Ling Xingchen out from behind again. This time, the distance between them was even closer. They were only 1,000 miles away from Su Fang. There must be an extremely powerful monster hiding in the black hole. It must have been alerted by the battle just now. Although it is dangerous, it is also my hope of escaping. Su Fang made up his mind and dashed towards the black hole. "And, even if you run to the end of the chaotic void, you will not be able to escape from my hands." Zhu Xian Granny looked at Su Fang's figure with eyes full of resentment. Her aura seemed to be a little weak, and her face looked even older. It was obvious that she was at a disadvantage in the battle of thoughts just now. Ling Xingchen sat on the edge of the cattail hassock with his legs crossed. He did not dare to look at Zhu Xian Granny as he was afraid that she would misunderstand. Zhu Xian Granny was known for her narrow-mindedness in the three highest mysterious sects. Ling Xingchen would be in trouble if she was angered by him after losing so much face this time. Roar! A roar came from the black hole, and the chaotic void around it trembled. Then, a ferocious and terrifying toad monster crawled out from the black hole. The toad monster was 1,000 miles long and its body was covered with terrifying pustules that were the size of small hills. Its eyes were ferocious and its body emitted a terrifying aura that surpassed that of a Dowlord. Sky-swallowing poisonous toad. Zhu Exan Granny's eyes changed and she hesitated. The sky-swallowing poisonous toad was a powerful monster that lived in the chaotic void. It had the talent of devouring the void and poison. In terms of strength, it was at the same level as Zhu Exan Granny. However, the sky-swallowing poisonous toad had a unique advantage in the chaotic void. Even Zhu Exan Granny had to be wary of it. If she was not careful, she might lose her life. Ling Xingchen was worried about the 6 extreme Dao Saint's celestial body, and he could not help but say, "Elder Zhu Exan, if Su Fang is eaten by the sky-swallowing poisonous toad, we will not be able to obtain its supreme ability of devouring providence." Shut up. Do you think that I can't even catch an ant? Zhu Exan Granny was burning with anger, and she immediately let out a thunderous roar. Ling Xingchen's body shook and blood flowed out from his mouth and nose. He was so frightened that he did not dare to say anything else. The cattail hassock under him flew into the sky again and appeared behind Su Fang. When the toad monster saw that they had ignored its existence, it was immediately enraged. It let out a furious roar and pounced towards them. At this moment, Su Fang activated the life-shrinking technique and concealed his aura. In an instant, he disappeared from where he stood without a trace. Boom! The toad monster pounced towards Heartbreaker like a huge mountain, crushing down on her. Zhu Exan Granny had to use all her strength to deal with the toad monster. How could she still care about Su Fang? 10,000 miles away, Su Fang's body flashed and appeared from the void. Strands of white hair instantly appeared on his temples. However, it was worth it to lose this bit of lifespan. He finally got rid of the experts from the 3 highest mysterious sects. You can slowly fight with the toad monster. I won't accompany you. The 3 highest mysterious sects. One day, Su Fang, will definitely repay this debt tenfold. Su Fang executed the blazing light flight and left swiftly. After flying for over 10 days in a row, even Su Fang didn't know how far he'd flown, and he was unable to persist any longer. He asked the Xian clan's Daolord to come out and take him into the Dao Palace. After that, the Xian clan's Daolord rode his flying sword and flew through the chaos at a speed that wasn't inferior to the flame cloud flying carriage. He didn't have any direction or target. The Xian clan's Daolord flew for over 500 years in a row and finally found a floating area in the chaos. Only then did Su Fang confirm that he'd completely escaped the pursuit of the experts from the 3 highest mysterious sects, and he ordered the Xian clan's Daolord to stop. After that, Su Fang set up a formation on the floating area. He devoured medicinal pills and the life essence of experts to recover while he withdrew the profound positioning disc to determine his current location. Su Fang saw some faint specks of light within the vast formation within the profound positioning disc. That represented the existence of a mystic world, and it wasn't far from here. It'll be easy so long as I can find a mystic world. Su Fang heaved a sigh of relief. He felt like a leaf floating in an ocean amidst the boundless chaos, and he might be swallowed at any moment. Only by entering a mystic world where humans resided would he be safest. Su Fang sat cross-legged and cultivated for an entire 3,000 years before he recovered to his peak state. It was mainly because his Dao Palace and Dao Heart had been damaged, and it was related to his foundation of cultivation. So, his recovery had become extremely slow. It's time to leave this place and head to a mystic world where humans reside. Right when Su Fang intended to leave the floating area, unexpectedly, 2 strands of life aura that were only at the lower Dao Truth realm suddenly appeared from the chaos and arrived at the floating area that Su Fang was hiding in. The chaos was boundless, and it was a bit too much of a coincidence to be able to encounter 2 Dao Truth realm cultivators in the boundless chaos. It just so happens that I need to find out where I am right now. I'll ask these two later. Su Fong thought in his heart, but he didn't show himself right away. It was a man and a woman. They wore extremely ordinary attire, and they were around the same age as Su Fong. Chapter 26:71. Su Fong calmed himself down and continued to listen to the man and woman's conversation with his great perfection of hearing. If we can't find an expert to help and obtain the divine primary water, our Autumn Waters clan will be chased out of Frigid Cove and will be exterminated sooner or later. The woman said faintly, her eyes filled with anxiety and worry. Su Fong activated his great perfection vision and could see that although this woman was said to be simple and even a little shabby, she was beautiful and had an elegant temperament. The young man sighed helplessly as well. If it wasn't for our clan leader being injured, how could our Autumn Waters clan face such a situation? There are only a few hundred years left before the deadline. Where can we find the divine primary water from the Gloomwater Cove? The woman said hatefully, damn the other clans of Frigid Cove. Our clan leader has helped them a lot in the past. Now, not only are they not helping us, they are hitting us when we are down and trying to swallow our clan. Who asked our clan leader to be so kind? After listening for a while, Su Fong finally understood the whole story of the matter. The man and woman came from a place called Frigid Cove. With their strength, it was impossible for them to stay in the chaos for a long time. Therefore, it could be concluded that Frigid Cove was not far from here. The two obviously did not belong to any major force, and their cultivation clans were facing the danger of annihilation. Su Fong transmitted his thought to the Xian clan expert in the Jiuxuan Dao Palace and asked, Xian Tianqing, do you know where Frigid Cove is? The Xian clan expert thought carefully for a while and shook his head. Eastern Xian divine domain is vast and boundless. I rarely leave the fire net mystical world, and have never heard of Frigid Cove. It should be a small place in some mystical world of Dongxian. Su Fong asked Ancestral Graygon. Ancestral Graygon's response was beyond Su Fong's expectations. Frigid Cove? Does that place produce a water-type spirit item called the Divine Primary Water? Old Dragon, it seems like you know where this place is. There is good news and bad news. Which one do you want to hear first? This old loach was actually keeping him in suspense at this crucial moment. Cut the crap. What's the good news and bad news? Then the bad news. Although this is still within the boundaries of the Eastern Xian divine domain, it is the most chaotic place in Dongxian, the heaven-forsaken wasteland. Heaven-abandoned desolate region? Su Fong had never heard of this place before. The Eastern profound divine domain was too vast, and Su Fong had only been to the fire net profound world. The Xian clan's Daolord said with surprise, the Forsaken Heavens region? Master, did your divine beast make a mistake? Is this really the heaven-forsaken desolate region? Su Fong asked curiously, Xian Tianqing, you also know about the heaven-forsaken desolate region. Of course I do. Almost every cultivator in the Eastern profound divine realm knows about the heaven-forsaken desolate region. The Xian clan expert named Xian Tianqing explained to Su Fong. It turned out that the heaven-forsaken barren region was a vast plain of time and space that was naturally formed in the chaos at the border of Dongxian. Unlike the mystic world, most of the places in the heaven-forsaken desolate region were barren ruins. There were also physical territories, but they were all in some extremely complicated and chaotic natural danger zones or wasteland. There were also a large number of cultivators living in the heaven-forsaken desolate region, as well as various other races and monsters. There was no order to speak of, and various forces were as numerous as the hairs on an ox. Bandits ran rampant, and everywhere was filled with slaughter, blood, and chaos. That was not all. The heaven-forsaken desolate region was bordered by some powerful and ferocious foreign races. Therefore, it had become the front line of the conflict between the Eastern profound divine domain and the foreign races, and it was frequently raided by the foreign races. At the same time, the heaven-forsaken desolate region was a training ground for the various forces of the Eastern Profound Divine Domain, including the Eastern Profound Heavenly Pavilion and the three highest profound sects. Training in the heaven-forsaken desolate region was a compulsory course for the disciples of many forces. After hearing Xian Tiancheng's explanation, Su Fang finally understood what kind of place the heaven-forsaken desolate region was, and he couldn't help but be extremely shocked. He didn't expect that after being chased by the experts of the three highest profound sects, he would accidentally run into such a dangerous place. Su Fang suddenly asked Ancestral Gragon, "Old Dragon, we've arrived at the heaven-forsaken desolate region, which is considered bad news. What's the good news you're talking about?" The good news is that the heavenly venerable Pan Tsang's force in Dongxian was established in the heaven-forsaken desolate region. Although the heavenly venerable is half dead now, his force is still there, controlled by his former disciples. I just don't know if it has been annexed by other forces. Su Fang was very surprised by Ancestral Gragon's words. Ancestral Gragon continued, "There's another piece of good news. This ancestor knows about the drifting chill isle because that place is rich in divine primary water, and is rather famous in the heaven-forsaken desolate region. Divine primary water looks like an extraordinary spiritual item. What is its use?" "Divine primary water is quite extraordinary," Ancestral Gragon said slowly. Divine primary water was a supreme spiritual water used to cleanse the spirit of pills and xian bao. Cultivators could also use it to cleanse the marrow of the body, but it was extremely rare. Ancestral Gragon also happened to know that a spiritual item called divine primary mud would be formed in the deepest part of the ghastly water abyss after countless years of precipitation. It was a very rare treasure for cultivators who cultivated the yin and cold attribute dharma bodies. Mystery wanted to reconstruct his physical body, and divine primary mud was a supreme treasure for him to reconstruct his divine body. It can help Mystery reconstruct his divine body? Su Fang was pleasantly surprised. It was an unexpected surprise. QL11 Since there was such a spiritual item, Su Fang naturally could not miss it. Without hesitation, he flew out of the hidden substance. The man and woman only then discovered Su Fang's existence and were shocked. Discovering Su Fang's cultivation base in the middle stage of Tao Truth Realm, the two sighed in relief, but they still acted like they were facing a great enemy. In the heaven-forsaken desolate region, killing for treasures, and even killing for no reason or kidnapping cultivators to be sold as slaves were common occurrences. Su Fang cupped his fists and said, "Don't be alarmed, I arrived here before you and cultivated in this substance. I didn't mean to eavesdrop on your conversation, nor do I have any ill intentions." The two were still vigilant. The young man cupped his fists at Su Fang and said, "The two of us unintentionally came to this substance to rest and unintentionally disturbed you. We apologize for offending you, we will take our leave now." With that, the two were about to leave the substance. Su Fang suddenly said, "I just heard the two of you talking about finding an expert to help your autumn water tribe obtain the divine primary water. I am willing to give it a try." "You?" The woman's eyes lit up. The young man swept Su Fang with his divine light and said decisively, "Our tribe leader has many friends. Now that he is in trouble, it is not difficult to find an expert to help him, so there is no need to trouble you." With that, the young man swept out a divine power and flew out of the substance with the woman. "Senior brother, we were worried that we couldn't find a helper. Why don't we let this person help us?" This person suddenly appeared out of nowhere. He obviously has ulterior motives. Moreover, he is only at the middle realm of Tao Truth. How can he enter the depths of the ghastly water abyss and obtain the divine primary water? Although the two of them deliberately used their divine power to isolate their voices, it was difficult to hide from Su Fang's perfect hearing. Suddenly, with a boom, a profound yang divine power descended and enveloped the two of them. The two of them were shocked. However, under Su Fang's profound yang divine power and will pressure, they trembled and could not resist at all. They felt that they were facing a Tao Lord expert. Su Fang's figure flashed and appeared in front of the two of them, withdrawing his pressure. The man and woman were terrified. The young man said in a trembling voice, "I did not mean to offend you. Please forgive me, my lord." Su Fang said majestically, "If I wanted to harm the two of you, I could suppress you with a thought. Why would I need to use any tricks? With my ability, do you think I'm qualified to enter the ghastly water abyss and obtain the divine primary water?" The young man quickly said, "I was too suspicious. My lord, please don't be offended. My lord's ability is more than enough to enter the ghastly water abyss." But, Su Fang said indifferently, "But why should I help you? I come from a sect, and have come to the heaven-forsaken wilderness this time to train and obtain some divine primary water to refine the Xian Bao. That's why I want to try my luck at the ghastly water abyss." "So my lord is a disciple from Dong Xian." The young man sized up Su Fang again. Su Fang was currently wearing the Pang tribe's flame robe, which was not something an ordinary cultivator of the heaven-forsaken wilderness could wear. In addition, the profound yang divine power that Su Fang had displayed just now came from the extreme profound yang spell. How shocking was its divine power! The young man concluded that Su Fang must have come from one of Dongxuan's super forces and no longer had any doubt. He quickly pulled the woman and knelt before Su Fang. "If my lord can lend us a hand, the Qiushui tribe will be eternally grateful. Let's go. Tell me about the divine primary water on the way." Su Fang took out the flaming cloud flying carriage and activated it. He then brought the two into the flying carriage. Seeing that Su Fang had such an extraordinary Xian Bao, the two of them were amazed and envious. They no longer had any doubts about Su Fang's identity. The young man said, "My lord, my clan's grand elder and I have come out to look for experts to help us. Let's go meet the grand elder first." Su Fang steered the flaming cloud flying carriage and sped off in the direction the two of them had pointed out. The man's name was Qiu Shuihong and the beautiful woman's name was Qiu Shuiqing. They both came from the Qiushui tribe of Driftwood Isle. There were many divine cultivation tribes in Driftwood Isle, but the Qiushui tribe could only be considered as a mid-tier tribe. Their patriarch was an intermediate Tao Lord cultivator. Qiu Shuiqing was the only daughter of the patriarch, while Qiu Shuihong was adopted by the patriarch as a child and was taken in as a disciple. The divine cultivation tribes of Driftwood Isle relied on the ghastly water abyss to survive. Their main purpose was to enter the depths of the ghastly water abyss to search for the divine primary water. They would regularly hand over the divine primary water to the sects that controlled Driftwood Isle in order to receive the protection of the sects. The Qiushui tribe occupied a decent part of the ghastly water abyss, so compared to the other divine cultivation tribes, their lives were relatively comfortable. Unexpectedly, the patriarch was injured in a battle not long ago and could not enter the depths of the ghastly water abyss to collect the divine primary water. The deadline to hand in the divine primary water was approaching, but they could not gather enough divine primary water. This meant that they would be chased out of Driftwood Isle. Therefore, the clan's grand elder led the tribe out to look for experts to help them tide over this crisis. Chapter 2672. The flaming cloud flying chariot flew out of the chaotic void and passed through a long passageway that twisted time and space, arriving at another dimension. In the vast space-time, there were countless material ruins floating. There were also many natural barriers. It looked extremely chaotic. There were also extremely weak natural spiritual qi and some power of the world, but most of it was chaotic energy. This is the heaven-forsaken barren region? Through the flaming cloud flying chariot's boundary, Su Fang saw the scene outside. Although what he saw was only the tip of the iceberg, he was still shocked and felt his blood boil. He was looking for a place to continuously digest the treasures in the 6 ultimate Tao Saints' celestial body and rapidly improve his strength, before heading to the East Mysterious Pavilion to resolve his grudge with Dong Xianjing and save his grandfather's soul. Although the heaven-forsaken barren region was dangerous, it also meant that it contained great opportunities. Only by going through repeated challenges could one rapidly improve their strength. Besides, the heaven-forsaken barren region was also a stage to become famous in Dongxian. Countless geniuses and experts had risen through life and death experiences in the heaven-forsaken barren region, becoming famous in the Eastern Divine Domain. With fame, all the major forces would come to recruit them, including supreme forces like the East Mysterious Pavilion and the 3 highest mysterious sects. The heaven-forsaken barren region was a sacred place for cultivators to train. First, I'll get the origin deity clay and help Shroud reconstruct his divine body. Then, I'll go deeper into the heaven-forsaken barren region and digest all kinds of resources and treasures while improving my strength. The most important thing now was to get the origin deity clay and help Shroud reconstruct his divine body. There was no need to think about anything else for now. Boom, boom, boom. As the flaming cloud-flying chariot sped, it was constantly attacked. In the heaven-forsaken barren region, there were as many bandits as there were hairs on a cow. Many of the force's cultivators usually followed the rules, but when they saw treasures, they would turn into bandits. The flaming cloud-flying chariot was so extraordinary, it would be strange if it did not attract the bandits' attack. After killing a dozen groups of bandits, Su Fang became numb and no longer paid attention to the bandit. Instead, he drove the flaming cloud-flying chariot with all his might, speeding towards the place where Qiu Shuihong and his clansmen had agreed upon. More than a decade later, they came to a huge floating ruin that was more than 10 miles wide. "Lord, it's there," Qiu Shuihong reminded Su Fangda. After leaving the flying car, Su Fang sucked the flying car into the Jiuquan Dao Palace, then took out a mask with a flame imprint on it and put it on his face. His facial muscles wriggled and fused perfectly with the mask. The mask gave off a fiery aura, and Su Fang's profound yang celestial body also gave off a profound yang aura, allowing Su Fang to transform into a fire-type cultivator, making it very difficult for anyone to discover his true identity. This mask was made by Su Fang on his way here. The material came from the fire elemental Dharma body of the 6 extreme Taoist saint, and it was refined using the treasure refining pool. At the same time, it was fused with a thought of the 6 extreme Taoist saint. Even experts who surpassed the Taoist master would find it difficult to see through the mask and see Su Fang's true appearance. Seeing Su Fang wearing such a strange mask, Qiu Shuiqing asked in surprise, "Darren, what are you doing?" Su Fang said faintly, "I came to the heaven-forsaken barren region to gain experience. If my true identity is known by others, it will lose the meaning of gaining experience." Qiu Shuiqing and Qiu Shuihong agreed deeply, and were even more certain that Su Fang was a disciple of a powerful force from Dongxian. Actually, it was not rare to see cultivators wearing masks in the heaven-forsaken barren region. After all, the heaven-forsaken barren region was a place where crooks and honest folk were mixed together. Many people had fled here after being hunted down by others, and were naturally unwilling to be discovered by their enemies. There were also many young geniuses who wanted to rely on their own abilities to gain experience here, and liked to cover up their true appearances. In fact, Su Fang's purpose of covering up his appearance was not to gain experience, but to not be discovered by the 3 Taishang mysterious sects. In the heaven-forsaken barren region, there were also disciples from the 3 Taishang mysterious sects who often came here to gain experience. In addition, Su Fang suspected that the expert from the 3 Taishang mysterious sects who was hunting him, and Ling Xingchen, would never give up on pursuing him. They might even come to the heaven-forsaken barren region. How could he not be careful? I don't want others to know my true appearance. Do you understand? Su Fang's cold gaze swept across Qiu Shuiqing and Qiu Shuihong. The two of them felt a shocking pressure sweeping over, and felt like they were about to be turned into ashes in the next moment. They immediately trembled and hurriedly agreed. "Let's go." Su Fang nodded and said. The two of them led the way in front and flew across the sky towards the ruins. But just as they approached the ruins, a wave-like brilliance broke through the sky and turned into the figure of an elder. Qiu Shuihong and Qiu Shuiqing cupped their fists and said, "Great Elder." It turned out that this elder was the thought of the Autumn Water Tribe's great elder. "I thought you were killed by bandits. If you don't come after a few more days, I will return to the Cold Isle." The illusory figure let out a majestic voice. Immediately after, the divine light swept across Su Fang's body, and he asked, "Who is this person?" "Great Elder, this is the expert that junior sister and I found. He agreed to enter the ghastly water abyss for our tribe and collect the primary divine water." Qiu Shuihong hurriedly explained. "What's the use of a middle Tao truth realm cultivator? The two of you are still young. Don't be fooled by others." The illusory figure of the elder revealed a disdainful expression. Qiu Shuihong said, "Although this lord is only at the middle Tao truth realm, his strength is extraordinary. Moreover," the elder waved his hand and said, "I have already found an expert, and his origin is extraordinary. It is enough to have his help. I don't need the help of others." Qiu Shuihong and Qiu Shuiqing were pleasantly surprised. Qiu Shuihong asked, "May I know where that expert came from and how strong is he?" "That person came from the ancient Blue City and is the disciple of the City Lord. His cultivation is at the Middle Tao Lord realm." "The disciple of the ancient Blue City Lord?" Qiu Shuihong and Qiu Shuiqing revealed a shocked expression. At this moment, Ancestral Gragon suddenly spoke from Su Fang's heavenly law avatar. "What a coincidence! Why, old dragon, you know about the ancient Blue City? More than just knowing? That ancient Blue City is a force that Heavenly Sovereign Pan Tsong personally established." "Such a coincidence," Qiu Shuihong then asked the elder. "The ancient Blue City is also a force of the heaven-forsaken desolate region. If we want to invite the City Lord's disciple, our clan will have to pay quite a price, right?" The great elder nodded and said, "What kind of status does the disciple of the ancient Blue City Lord have? If we want to invite him, of course we will have to pay quite a price. However, it is still within an acceptable range." Qiu Shuiqing said, "What is the price?" The great elder's projection said embarrassedly, "That disciple of the ancient Blue City Lord not only has to take away half of the divine origin water, he will also leave a Dharma avatar to cultivate at Flowing Cold Isle. During this period, he needs a woman with a pure Yin physique from our clan to serve him." Qiu Shuihong was shocked and angry. "The only woman with a pure Yin physique in our clan is Junior Martial Sister. Great Elder, how can you make Junior Martial Sister a maid?" The great elder said coldly, "The disciple of the ancient Blue City Lord has an extraordinary status. Furthermore, he has left a Dharma avatar behind. It is also a form of deterrence to the other cultivation clans. Our clan is now in a desperate situation. Why can't our clansmen make some sacrifices?" Qiu Shuihong was furious. "Great Elder, you are deliberately harming Junior Martial Sister in order to seize the power of the clan while the Patriarch is injured." "Shut up, you dare to slander me?" The projection formed by the great elder's thoughts waved his hand and swept out a water-type Taoist rhyme towards Qiu Shuihong. Su Fang snorted coldly. A mysterious Yang Taoist rhyme erupted and incinerated the great elder's thought attack. That thought was also affected and immediately turned into nothingness before finally dissipating into nothingness. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. QL11 more than 10 figures flew out from the material. The white-haired old man in the lead was wearing a white robe with water patterns. He was the great elder of the Autumn Water God clan. Beside the great elder was a yellow-clothed youth, who was only 18 or 19 years old. He had a slender and handsome face, and his cultivation had reached the middle stage of Tao Lord. His strength was indeed extraordinary. He should be the disciple of the ancient Blue City Lord. Su Fangda's perfect vision sized up this person, and his deep eyes revealed a look of surprise. Why? Su Fang did not put a mere middle stage of Tao truth in his eyes. Naturally, he would not be surprised. Instead, this person's aura contained an aura that Su Fang was extremely familiar with. It was the Nine Yang aura that Su Fang could not be more familiar with. Could it be that this person also cultivated the Nine Yang Nine transformations? It seems different. Although his Nine Yang aura is quite extraordinary, it is different from the Nine Yang Nine transformations that I cultivated in the past. It is far from being as pure and abundant as my Nine Yang power. Su Fang was shocked and stunned. However, after thinking about it carefully, there was nothing strange about it. The ancient Blue City Lord must be the disciple of the heavenly sovereign Pan Song. In order to nurture a body that could be possessed by him, Pan Song had many disciples cultivate the Nine Yang Nine transformations back then. However, no one succeeded. However, the Nine Yang Nine transformations was indeed extraordinary. The ancient Blue City Lord would definitely not give up. After some changes, it was not strange for him to be able to let the cultivators of the Joshuan God realm cultivate it, and then pass it on to his disciples. Strictly speaking, this person could be considered the successor of the heavenly sovereign. The ancient Blue City Lord's disciple stared straight at Chiu Shuiqing, his face full of joy. Not bad, it is indeed a pure Yin body. If you dual cultivate with my pure Yang celestial body, it will bring unexpected benefits to both of us. The great elder's eyes were like ice as he coldly looked at Su Fang. Brat, no matter where you came from, I advise you not to interfere with the matters of the Autumn Water God clan. Furthermore, it is the matters of the ancient Blue City Lord's disciple, Yang Shengtian. You should obediently scram back to where you came from. Su Fang's eyebrows raised. Just as he was about to speak, Chiu Shuiqing looked at the great elder and said in a clear and certain voice, "Great elder, I have no complaints about sacrificing myself for the Autumn Water God clan. However, I will definitely not make unnecessary sacrifices." The first elder coldly said, "If you don't agree, then young noble Yang Shengtian won't help our tribe. As a result, we won't be able to call out enough divine water and will be chased out of Flowing Cold Isle. Could it be that you want to watch all of your clan members die tragically?" Chiu Shuiqing said, "The Lord that Senior and I have invited can definitely help my clan tide over this crisis." Him? A mere true Tao realm cultivator? Chapter 26:73. It was no wonder that Yang Shengtian was so arrogant and looked down on Su Fang. Su Fang was only at the middle stage of Tao truth, and there were plenty of them in the heaven-forsaken desolate region. Su Fang's Joshuan Dao Palace and his 4 physical bodies were all concealed by Shi Xian Daozu. Even Heartbreaker Granny would not be able to see anything, let alone a mere Tao Lord like Yang Shengtian. In the eastern profound divine region, perhaps only the supreme Dongxian Daozu could see Su Fang's Joshuan Dao Palace. In addition, Yang Shengtian was a middle-stage Tao Lord and had an extraordinary status. Naturally, he would not take Su Fang, a mere Tao True Realm cultivator, seriously. The corners of Grand Elder Chiu Shui's mouth curled up into a cold smile, and then she said earnestly to Chiu Shuiqing, "Patriarch is heavily injured, and I don't want you to sacrifice yourself. However, this concerns the fate of my clan." Then, she put on a righteous look and said, "Fine, I'll give you a chance. Let the big shot you invited compete with young Master Yang Shengtian. If he can defeat young Master Yang Shengtian, you won't have to sacrifice anything. If he loses, it's not up to you to decide." Chiu Shuihong shouted, "Junior sister, you can't agree." Chiu Shuihong had feelings for Chiu Shuiqing, and clan leader Chiu Shui had already acquiesced to the two. How could he watch his beloved woman be used as a wager? What if she lost? Although he knew that Su Fang was not an ordinary Dao True Realm cultivator, he was not confident that Su Fang could defeat Yang Shengtian. He did not even have a glimmer of hope. Qiu Shuiqing looked at Su Fang for help. However, Su Fang was wearing a mask and his expression could not be seen. His eyes were also as calm as an ancient well. She could not get any information from him. Qiu Shuiqing hesitated for a while and said with gritted teeth, "Fine, it's a deal." Yang Shengtian laughed complacently. "Just wait to become my woman, and you, kid, don't die in the Gloomwater abyss." Su Fang frowned under his mask. Originally, he was planning to ask Yang Shengtian about the ancient Blue City. He never thought that this person would be such an arrogant person, so he completely dispelled the idea. In order to show off, Yang Shengtian took out a fan-like xianbao. After activating it, it became 10 feet long and floated in the air. The feather fan was actually a flying xianbao. Its quality had reached the middle grade, and it was extremely rare. When the cultivators of the Autumn Water God clan saw it, they all revealed looks of envy. "Your speed is too slow. By the time you reach Frigid Island, you will have already missed the deadline to hand over the primary spirit water. Let me bring you along." Yang Shengtian felt the gazes of the crowd and enjoyed it. He said proudly, "Many thanks, young Master Yang." Great Elder Qiu Shui led the dozen or so clansmen and flew onto the feather fan. They were all very excited. Seeing that Qiu Shuihong and Qiu Shuiqing had no intention of moving, Great Elder Qiu Shui coldly shouted, "To be able to ride such an extraordinary xian bao is a rare experience in your life. What are you hesitating for?" Qiu Shuiqing and Qiu Shuihong looked at Su Fang at the same time. Su Fang originally did not want to show off, but now he could only take out the flaming cloud flying carriage. High-grade xianbao. And it's a very rare xianbao. Although the heaven-forsaken desolate region was rich in spiritual items that were rare in the eastern profound divine realm, there were very few truly rich cultivators. A high-grade xianbao like the flaming cloud flying carriage for flight was even rarer. The cultivators of the Autumn Water God clan all stared with their eyes wide open. Yang Shengtian was surprised, and his eyes were filled with greed and possessiveness as he looked at the flaming cloud flying carriage. His gaze towards Su Fang was also faintly filled with killing intent. It was obvious that he had the intention to kill and seize the treasure. Su Fang took Qiu Shuihong and Qiu Shuiqing and urged the flaming cloud flying carriage. The wheels rolled and flames surged. In a flash, they flew hundreds of thousands of miles away. Yang Shengtian urged the feather fan with all his strength and followed behind. Soon, even the shadow of the flaming cloud flying carriage could not be seen. What qualifications does a mere Dao True Realm cultivator have to possess such an extraordinary xianbao? Yang Shengtian's heart was filled with greed. At the same time, his killing intent towards Su Fang became even stronger. With the flaming cloud flying carriage's speed, it took them more than 30 years to reach the Luhan Island. The space-time of the Luhan Island was very strange. Its periphery was shrouded by a vast and strange cold air current, forming a huge backflow. In the center of the backflow, there was a material about 10,000 miles in area floating. Su Fang drove the flaming cloud flying carriage, breaking through the shackles of the surrounding cold air current, and arrived above the material. The power of the Great Perfection stage swept past the material. The material emitted an incomparably cold aura. Su Fang had the Xian Yang Dharma body, but he still felt a burst of cold aura and could not help but shiver. There were also mountains and forests in the material. Most of them were lakes and ponds of different sizes. They looked like mirrors embedded in the material. The water in the lakes and ponds was extraordinary. It was dark and faintly emitted an incomparably strange and cold aura. QL11 around the lakes and ponds, there were cultivator forces stationed. The largest force had more than 100,000 cultivators guarding around the largest lake. There was also a Dao Lord in the force. Around those pools, there were a few forces that were relatively small in number. Su Fang understood. In the depths of the material, there was hidden water of extreme yin and extreme coldness. It seeped from the ground and formed these lakes and ponds. The origin holy water was also collected from these lakes and ponds, which was why it was occupied by many forces. Su Fang also sensed that there were a large number of mortals living in the material. There were also many mortals whose aura was completely different from other mortals and cultivators. They obviously had the aura of life from a low-level universe. Moreover, these mortals had very low statuses and were far inferior to other mortals. They were like slaves. Su Fang asked Qiu Shuihong, "Where did these mortals come from?" Qiu Shuihong answered respectfully, "Many cultivators from low-level universes fled to the heaven-forsaken desolation region because they could not survive in the eastern profound divine domain. After generations of reproduction, they left behind many descendants. These people's cultivation talent is far inferior to the mortals of the Jiuxuan divine domain. Their status is also the lowest. They are called the heaven-forsaken slave race. The heaven-forsaken desolation region got its name from this." Although Qiu Shuihong's tone was respectful in front of Su Fang, when he mentioned the mortals, there was unconcealable contempt in his tone. It was as if he was talking about a herd of pigs and sheep. Heaven-forsaken slave race. Su Fang's heart twitched. His entire body was cold. If he did not have enough strength, all the cultivators in the heavenly path Dharma body and his future descendants would be like those mortals. They would live at the lowest level of the Jiuxuan divine domain and be called the heaven-forsaken slave race. Strength. Without great strength, not only will I be bullied, even my descendants will become slaves of others. I will never allow such a thing to happen to me. Su Fang's heart was filled with determination. The thought of becoming stronger became even more resolute in his heart. After passing through the mountains, they arrived at the Autumn Water God clan. The Autumn Water God clan was considered a mid-tier force in Driftwood Isle. They occupied a quiet pond that was hundreds of meters wide. Do not underestimate this small quiet pond. It was all thanks to it that almost 10,000 of the Autumn Water God clan members survived. However, this quiet pond did not belong to the Autumn Water God clan. All the lakes and ponds on Driftwood Isle belonged to the largest force, the Gloomwater sect. Not only did the Gloomwater sect occupy the largest lake, the other cultivation forces had to hand over 70% of their divine origin water every 1,000 years if they wanted to gain a foothold on Driftwood Isle. If they could not hand it over within the set time, they would have to piss off from Driftwood Isle. The divine origin water was located in the depths of the lakes and ponds. It had condensed over time and was extremely difficult to harvest. The slightest carelessness could lead to one freezing to death in the Gloomwater abyss. Only Dowlords were able to enter Darkwater abyss through the watery holes beneath the lakes and ponds. Whether or not one was able to harvest primordial divine water depended on one's luck. As the patriarch of the Autumn Water God clan was injured, they could not enter the Gloomwater abyss. The others did not have the strength either. Right now, they faced the predicament of being chased out of Driftwood Isle. When they heard that Qiu Shuihong and Qiu Shuiqing had invited experts, all the Autumn Water God clansmen cheered. However, when they learnt that Su Fang was only at the middle stage of Tao Truth, none of them avoided Su Fang at all. They were greatly disappointed, as if their hopes had been dashed. Su Fang smiled faintly and settled down in a courtyard that Qiu Shuihong had arranged for him. Only 3 months later did the Grand Elder, Yang Xingtian, and the others arrive at the Autumn Water God clan. Knowing that Su Fang had arrived long ago, Yang Xingtian was naturally extremely furious. He wanted to possess Su Fang's Flamecloud chariot even more. After learning of Yang Xingtian's identity and strength, the entire Autumn Water God clan was overjoyed. They believed that their savior had arrived, so they treated Yang Xingtian as an esteemed guest. Even the heavily injured patriarch came out to meet Yang Xingtian. He even personally promised that as long as Yang Xingtian could help the Autumn Water God clan survive, he would agree to all of Yang Xingtian's conditions. Reality was just so cruel. For the entire Autumn Water God clan, the patriarch was even willing to sell out his own daughter. The next day, Qiu Shuihong came to visit Su Fang. Seeing his angry yet hesitant look, Su Fang said faintly, "Is the Autumn Water God clan planning to chase me away?" Qiu Shuihong hurriedly replied, "How would I dare? It's Yang Xingtian. He wants to stay where you are now." Su Fang was startled, then smiled faintly. "It's fine. If he wants to stay, let him stay." Qiu Shuihong did not expect Su Fang to agree so readily. He was also afraid of angering Su Fang, so he hurriedly brought Su Fang to his residence. As soon as Su Fang moved out, Yang Xingtian moved into the courtyard triumphantly. Su Fang stayed in the Autumn Water God clan and did not come out. Other than Qiu Shuihong and Qiu Shuiqing, no one else came to see him. After 3 years, everything was ready. It was time to enter the Gloomwater Abyss. Chapter 2674. The expert of the Gloomwater sect was a skinny, middle-aged man. His face was pale, and his eyes were filled with bone-chilling coldness. His presence also possessed a baleful aura. His cultivation was rather impressive, having reached the level of an upper Daolord. The Gloomwater sect was the heavens of the entire frigid Flow Isle. The Grand Elder of the Qiushui clan bowed before him like a servant. Even the heavily injured patriarch had come to greet him. Even Yang Xingtian, whose eyes grew on his forehead, was extremely respectful towards this person. As soon as Su Fang entered the discussion hall, the middle-aged man's cold gaze immediately shot over. He studied Su Fang. In the end, he looked at Su Fang's mask, and his gaze suddenly sharpened. A cold presence surged towards Su Fang. It actually wanted to penetrate Su Fang's mask and see Su Fang's true appearance. Sizzle! Powerful will and fire element presence of ways surged out from Su Fang's mask, instantly incinerating the middle-aged man's senses of the soul. Su Fang's mask had fused with the thoughts of the fire element avatar of the 6 extreme Daos. Just how shocking was the will and presence of ways within it. The expert of the Gloomwater sect originally planned on intimidating Su Fang, but he ended up suffering quite the loss instead. The expert of the Gloomwater sect grunted, and his face immediately paled. Immediately, he became both surprised and furious. He bellowed out coldly, "Take off your mask and reveal your true appearance." Su Fang raised an eyebrow. He looked at the Grand Elder of the Qiushui clan. "What's the meaning of this?" The Grand Elder sneered. "Sir Han of the Gloomwater sect has come this time under the sect master's orders to help the 3 supreme profound sects search for fugitives. No matter what your origins are, you can't be greater than the 3 supreme profound sects, right? Take off your mask obediently and let Sir Han inspect you." The 3 supreme profound sects are searching for fugitives? Su Fang was stunned, and then he understood. He was almost certain that the person the 3 supreme profound sects were searching for was Su Fang. The expert of the 3 supreme profound sects and Ling Xingchen really haven't given up. They've actually chased me all the way to the heaven-forsaken desolate region. Su Fang's heart surged with a fierce aura. Then, with a wave of his hand, the mask fell off his face, revealing his true appearance. That's right, it was his true appearance. Changing one's facial muscles and bones to change one's appearance was simply impossible to hide from a cultivator's senses. However, Su Fang's true appearance appeared completely different in the eyes of the others. It was no longer Su Fang's original appearance. Instead, it was an extraordinarily handsome face. It turned out that Su Fang had secretly used the Yang refining profound transformation technique to cover his face with the power of the flaming dream illusory cloud. Now that Su Fang had advanced to the Middle Daojian realm, his cultivation base and strength had increased by several times. His understanding of the extreme Dao mystic Yang art had also deepened. His ability to create illusions had also become even more astonishing, allowing him to easily deceive Tao Lord. The expert of the Gloomwater sect extended his hand and pulled out a figure. It was Su Fang's mental image. It was extremely lifelike. After comparing it carefully, the middle-aged man of the Gloomwater sect snorted coldly and rolled up the image with a wave of his hand. Afterwards, he said to the patriarch of the Autumn Water clan, "That person is a major criminal that the three supreme profound sects want to capture. If you discover any traces of him, immediately report it to the Gloomwater sect. There will definitely be great rewards then. If you don't report it..." With that, the middle-aged man swaggered off. Everyone's attention was focused on the expert of the Gloomwater sect. No one noticed that Qiu Shuihong and Qiu Shuiqing, who stood behind him, looked at Su Fang in shock and disbelief. They had seen Su Fang's true appearance before, so how could they not recognize Su Fang? They had never thought that Su Fang was actually a fugitive being pursued by the three supreme profound sects. Su Fang's ability to change his appearance could even deceive a Tao Lord of the Gloomwater sect, which shocked the two of them. If you don't want the Autumn Water clan to be wiped out, it's best if you give up on those unrealistic thoughts and keep everything you know to your grave. Su Fang's voice that was filled with killing intent suddenly rang out in Qiu Shuihong and Qiu Shuiqing's heads. Both of their souls trembled. They felt as if they would be easily killed by Su Fang in the next moment. Originally, they still had some strange thoughts, but they instantly disappeared. What kind of existence were the three supreme profound sects? Although the three supreme profound sects still controlled the heaven-forsaken desolate region, who did not know about the super-organizations that had infiltrated and dominated the eastern profound divine domain. The fact that Su Fang could be hunted down by the three supreme profound sects was enough to prove his strength. He was definitely not what he seemed on the surface, so how could the Autumn Water clan offend him? "I'll be troubling you now, young Master Yang." The patriarch of the Autumn Water clan clasped his fist towards Yang Xingtian. However, he did not care about Su Fang at all. "Since I am personally taking action, it is naturally a sure thing. However, since the Autumn Water God clan has agreed to my conditions, you better not go back on your words." Yang Xingtian spoke proudly. Divine light swept over Qiu Shuiqing's body, and his eyes were burning with passion. The upper echelons of the Autumn Water God clan clustered around Yang Xingtian and arrived at the side of the serene water pool. Su Fang only had Qiu Shuihong and Qiu Shuiqing by his side. It seemed very cold and cheerless. Entering the serene water pool to collect the primary divine water was a huge matter that concerned the survival of the Autumn Water God clan. All the clansmen of the Autumn Water God clan turned out in full force and surrounded the serene water pool. Yang Xingtian became the focus of everyone's attention. He was like a moon surrounded by stars and was in high spirit. The Autumn Water God clan's Grand Elder spoke to Su Fang coldly. "Entering the serene water pool is not child's play. If you are not careful, you might lose your life. It is not too late for you to back out now." Before Su Fang could speak, Yang Dingtian spoke to Su Fang in a domineering manner. "It is too late to back out now. You will have to see if I agree or not." Su Fang revealed a sneer under his mask and said indifferently, "What do you want? If you retreat in the face of difficulties now, then I won't make it too difficult for you. You only have to hand over that flying chariot dark treasure of yours, then kneel and kowtow to me, and I won't make a fuss about it with you." Su Fang sneered disdainfully. "So you have your eyes on my treasure, you want my treasure? I am afraid you do not have the ability to take it." Yang Dingtian snorted. "You don't know the difference between life and death. Then, let's compete in the serene water pool and see who can collect more primary divine water." "My lord, the serene water pool is extremely dangerous. Do not be careless and fall into Yang Shengtian's trap." At this time, Qiu Shuiqing secretly transmitted his thoughts to Su Fang. He seemed to be quite anxious. Su Fang responded, I am not worried about the dangers in the serene water pool. Don't worry. Yu Yu's voice echoed from Su Fang's Heaven Law avatar. Kid, I didn't expect you to still be concerned about my matters. I will not thank you for your kindness. Su Fang transmitted his thoughts. Senior Yu Yu, you have saved me and the Holy Maiden. Furthermore, you lost your physical body because of my senior sister. Naturally, I have to do everything I can to reconstruct my physical body. What's more, this trip to the depths of the serene water pool to collect the primary divine mud is just a piece of cake for me. It is not worth mentioning. Kid, let's go. See how I am going to teach you a lesson. Yang Xingtian laughed wildly while his body ignited with astonishing flames. It was the 9 Yang true flames. The blazing divine prowess swept away the chilling aura around the serene water pool. Immediately after, Yang Xingtian rushed towards the surface of the water. The divine prowess caused the serene water pool to tumble and open up a passageway while he rushed into the passageway. Such astonishing divine prowess caused the autumn water god race to cheer. When the serene water pool regained its calmness, Su Fang slowly entered the water. He looked calm and incomparable to Yang Xingtian's prowess. The autumn water god race's grand elder scoffed. Some of the autumn water god race's higher-ups who had sided with the grand elder also mocked and ridiculed. As for Qiu Shuihong and Qiu Shuiqing, their expressions turned extremely ugly. The moment Su Fang entered the pool, an astonishing chilling aura assaulted him from all directions along with the water pressure. It was as if his entire body was about to be frozen stiff. If a mortal came into contact with the serene water, they would instantly be frozen to death. Even if it was a true Dao cultivator, if they did not have powerful Abhijna or Xian Bao, their physical body, soul, and mana would quickly be frozen and sink into the serene water pool. In the end, they would not be able to escape death. How could Su Fang be an ordinary true Dao cultivator? Other than the Xian Yang celestial body and the extreme Xian Yang technique from Daozu of Shixian, he also had the 6 extreme Dao Saint celestial bodies. How could mere serene water do anything to him? After merging the Xian Yang celestial body with his physical body, a Xian Yang divine prowess protected his body and resisted the invasion of the chilling aura. However, he allowed his body to continuously sink into the depths of the pool. 100 feet, 500 feet, 100 feet. When he sank to 150 feet, Su Fang caught up with Yang Xingtian. Yang Xingtian's cultivation technique was indeed extraordinary. He also cultivated a pure Yang celestial body. He still appeared very calm when he went deep into the serene water. However, he no longer dared to be as reckless as when he first entered the water. Sensing the movement above, Yang Xingtian discovered Su Fang's arrival. He revealed a disdainful sneer and suddenly accelerated his descent. I didn't expect that the successor of Heavenly Sovereign Pan Song would be a clown, Su Fang smiled bitterly. He did not quite understand how an arrogant person like Yang Xingtian could survive in such a harsh environment like the heaven-forsaken desolate region. He continued to sink until he was 500 feet deep in the serene water. This was the deepest part of the serene water pool controlled by the Autumn Water God clan. There was a 10 feet wide whirlpool. It was dark and looked like a black hole that could devour everything. It was the water eye to enter the serene water pool. QL11 Yang Xingtian had already reached the deepest part of the serene water pool. He activated a bell-like Xian Bao and released a fiery barrier to block the shocking shackles and chilling aura in the depths of the serene water. He sat cross-legged inside the barrier and swallowed elixirs to recover. Seeing Su Fang slowly approaching, Yang Xingtian was very surprised. He did not expect that Su Fang could reach the depths of the serene water pool so calmly with his cultivation of the middle realm of Tao Truth. Su Fang did not even look at Yang Xingtian. He followed the flow of the water and was sucked into the water eye. This person must have a treasure that can resist the chilling aura and shackles of the serene water. He also has the flying Xian Bao. The depths of the serene water are suitable for killing and seizing the treasure. Chapter 26:75. Wush Yang Xingtian chased after him. He passed through the whirlpool and came to the deep and dark ghastly abyss. QL11. In the ghastly abyss, a spiritual item formed from the essence of water was born. It was the primordial divine water. The ghastly abyss ran through the entire interior of Luhan Island. The water was bone-chilling and could even freeze the thoughts of Tao Lords. It was very difficult for ordinary cultivators to enter the depths of the ghastly abyss. Even Tao Lords could not stay in the ghastly abyss for a long time. That kid is gone? Yang Xingtian was surprised that he could not see Su Fang in the depths of the ghastly abyss. Did that kid go deeper into the ghastly abyss? Yang Xingtian was in disbelief. Soon after, he flatly denied this conjecture. Even I was barely able to reach the depths of the ghastly abyss. Even if that kid possesses an extraordinary profound treasure, it's impossible for him to reach the depths of the ghastly abyss. There's only one possibility. After that kid entered the water eye, he froze to death. Yang Xingtian found what he thought was the most reasonable judgment. He immediately regretted and was in a dilemma. If I had known this would happen, I would have suppressed that kid the moment I entered the ghastly abyss and robbed him of his treasures. It was too late for regrets now. Yang Xingtian could only hurry to find the primordial divine water and leave the ghastly abyss as soon as possible. Otherwise, with his strength, even if he had a pure yang celestial body, it would be difficult for him to stay in the ghastly abyss for a long time. Yang Xingtian would never have expected that Su Fang was constantly diving into the depths of the ghastly abyss. As he went deeper, the terrifying pressure, shackles, and the cold aura that could freeze souls and celestial bodies put Su Fang under great pressure. In the end, even the Xianyang celestial body could not bear it. Su Fang had to integrate the thoughts of the 6 extreme paths sacred fire celestial body to release supreme magic power and Taoist rhymes to form a defense around him to resist the cold aura's continuous invasion. At the same time, Su Fang also activated the Xianwang 6 Paths Pagoda. Xianwang 6 Paths Pagoda unleashed his innate divine might and unleashed the power of water. The terrifying pressure and shackles vanished without a trace. He was like a fish swimming in the depths of the gloomy water abyss. The Xianwang 6 Paths Pagoda was a natal magical treasure that had accompanied Su Fang since he was in a small world. Over the years, it had absorbed the 6 spiritual items from the internal space of the 6 extreme Tao Saint Dharma bodies. In addition, Su Fang had been constantly reforming the formations inside the magical treasure. As a result, the Xianwang 6 Paths Pagoda had finally broken through the limit of the magical treasures in the Pansong universe and became a Xian Bao. Su Fang had not yet had the time to cultivate the Xianwang Dharmakaya. He did not expect that Xianwang 6 Paths Pagoda would come in handy in the depths of the gloomy water abyss. Whoosh, the pitch-black spirit water flowed around him, and Su Fang continued to sink in the endless darkness. From time to time, he could see balls of crystal-clear bubbles in the darkness. Inside the bubbles, there was a black liquid that looked like mercury. It kept surging. It was the primordial heavenly water. My main purpose in entering the gloomy water abyss this time is the primordial heavenly soil. The primordial heavenly water is just a side trip. Before I find the primordial heavenly soil, there's no need to waste my energy on the primordial heavenly water. Su Fang didn't care about the primary origin holy water. He only collected the bubbles when they were within the range of his divine might. The deeper he went into the gloomy water abyss, where very few cultivators could reach, the more primordial heavenly water there was. The quality was also higher than the water near the water eye. Although Su Fang collected it casually, the quantity was still considerable. After an unknown period of time, poof, Su Fang finally sank to a solid surface and came to the deepest part of the gloomy water abyss. The bottom of the gloomy water abyss was not flat. There were also undulating mountain ranges, gullies, and abysses. At the bottom of the water, there was a layer of black sludge. It was the primordial heavenly soil. However, it was not pure primordial heavenly soil. It needed to be refined to remove the impurities in it. Only then could it be used as a material to reconstruct Ghost's divine body. Su Fang activated the Xian Wang Six Paths Pagoda. The pagoda door opened and a suction force burst out, sucking the primordial heavenly soil on the ground into the pagoda's space. It's about time. I can't stay any longer. Otherwise, it will be dangerous. By the time he felt that he could no longer stay in the gloomy water abyss, all the primordial heavenly soil within a radius of 100 miles had been swept away. However, most of it was impurities. Su Fang estimated that he could only extract about 50 kilograms of it at most. It should be more than enough for Ghost to reconstruct her body. Although Su Fang wanted to collect more primordial heavenly soil, he still kept a cool head. It was not worth it to lose his life for treasures. It was difficult to distinguish the direction in the darkness. Fortunately, Su Fang left a secret mark along the way. He did not have to worry about getting lost in the gloomy water abyss. Whoosh, going up was 10 times faster than going down, and it was much easier as well. As long as he came across primordial heavenly soil, Su Fang collected it all without holding back. The primordial heavenly soil was good stuff. It could be used for refining pills and treasures, so the more the better. After leaving, Su Fang would only give a small portion to the Autumn Water Clan at most. It would be enough for them to hand it over to the gloomy water sect. Just as Su Fang returned and collected the primordial heavenly soil, Yang Xingtian had already returned from the water eye. He charged out of the pool very quickly. Splash! Yang Xingtian burst out of the water and staggered, almost falling back into the pool. Yang Xingtian was truly extraordinary. He had cultivated a pure Yang avatar, so he could reach the depths of the pool and stay there for far longer than the patriarch of the Autumn Water Clan. However, he was already at the end of his rope. Fortunately, the Grand Elder of the Autumn Water Clan acted in time, using a divine might to sweep him up and send him to the shore. Otherwise, he would have fallen back into the pool, which would have been horrible. Yang Xingtian immediately sat down and devoured pills to recover, expelling the cold aura that had seeped into his body and avatar. Half a day later, Yang Xingtian suddenly opened his mouth and spat out a mouthful of cold essence blood. When it landed on the ground, it immediately condensed into a layer of ice, covering an area of several hundred meters. Yang Xingtian finally recovered some of his vitality. He snorted, "What a powerful gloomy water abyss! I almost died in there. Young Master Yang has made such a great sacrifice for my Autumn Water Clan. I thank young Master Yang on behalf of the Autumn Water Clan for your kindness." The Autumn Water God Clan's Grand Elder revealed a grateful expression. Afterwards, he asked carefully, "May I ask if young Master Yang has collected primordial heavenly soil? How can I return empty-handed?" "Don't worry, it's enough for your Autumn Water Clan to hand over to the gloomy water sect." Yang Xingtian was complacent. The Grand Elder was immediately overjoyed. The other clansmen cheered as well. Yang Xingtian glanced around and did not see Su Fang. Yang Xingtian sneered, "Arrogant fool who overestimates himself. He actually died in the gloomy water abyss. Serves him right." The Grand Elder smiled obsequiously. That kid overestimated himself. He asked for his death in the gloomy water abyss. He can't blame anyone else. Yang Xingtian said regretfully, "It's just a pity about his treasures." Afterwards, he looked at Qiu Shuiqing. Yang Xingtian's eyes burned with desire. He said domineeringly, "Bring that woman to my residence. I need to cultivate both yin and yang to recover what I expended in the gloomy water abyss." Qiu Shuiqing's face turned ghastly pale in an instant, and his heart sank into endless despair. Qiu Shuihong trembled, but he did not have the courage to stand out. The various upper echelon and clansmen of the Autumn Water Clan looked at Qiu Shuiqing indifferently. As long as they could survive, why would they worry about the lives of others? The Grand Elder stroked his white beard and called out, "Qiu Shuiqing, why don't you return with young Master Yang?" Qiu Shuiqing's body trembled. He was unwilling to move. Yang Xingtian said coldly, "Why? Do you feel wrong serving me? In the ancient Blue City, I don't know how many young girls threw themselves at me, but I might not even take a fancy to them. Yet, you're still making excuses. You don't know how to appreciate favors." Just as he finished speaking, suddenly a water column shot up into the sky from the gloomy water abyss. Su Fang's figure rushed out of the ice-cold gloomy water along with the water column. Then, in a flash, he came to the shore. Yang Xingtian was surprised and shocked. Soon after, he was overjoyed. This kid didn't die. That's great. Su Fang didn't die. This meant that his Xian Bao would belong to him. How could he not be surprised? Everyone in the Autumn Water Clan was shocked. They found it hard to believe that Su Fang could stay in the gloomy water abyss for so long. He looked even more energetic than Yang Xingtian. Qiu Shuihong and Qiu Shuiqing rekindled their hope. Qiu Shuiqing flew to Su Fang's side and asked nervously, "My lord, have you collected the primary spirit water?" Su Fang nodded. "I managed to collect some." Yang Xingtian sneered. "Kid, take out the primary spirit water you collected. I suspect that you didn't enter the gloomy water abyss at all." Su Fang said casually, "So what?" Yang Xingtian secretly transmitted his thoughts to the Autumn Water Clan's Great Elder. The Great Elder didn't know what promise Yang Xingtian had made. He said coldly to Su Fang, "Although my Autumn Water Clan isn't a big force, we can't be deceived by anyone. I suspect that you have other motives for sneaking into my clan." Swish, swish, swish. More than a dozen Autumn Water Clan's higher-ups immediately surrounded Su Fang. The atmosphere suddenly became tense. Su Fang chuckled and said, "If I collect more primordial divine water than Yang Xingtian, what do you have to say? You can surpass me? What a joke." Yang Xingtian sneered disdainfully. He waved his hand and rolled out more than 50 bubbles, which contained the primary spirit water. Within the Autumn Water God clan, waves of exclamations and exclamations immediately rang out. In the past, when the Autumn Water Clan's patriarch sneaked into the gloomy water abyss, the best harvest was about 30 balls of primary spirit water. The quality was not as good as what Yang Xingtian had taken out. It was really amazing that Yang Xingtian could obtain so much primary spirit water this time. It was no wonder that people were so shocked. Yang Xingtian looked at Su Fang and said domineeringly, "If you collected more primary spirit water than me, I will apologize to you. If you can't even take out a ball of primary spirit water. Obediently take out your treasures and I will spare your life." Chapter 2676. If you lose, you'll just have to apologize and lose a single strand of hair. If I lose, I'll have to take out all my treasures. Hee, how overbearing! Looking at Yang Xingtian, who was baring his ferocious fangs, Su Fang could not help but sneer. He finally understood what kind of rules the heaven-forsaken desolate region followed. What is young Master Yang Xingtian's status, and what is your status? If you can't take out the primary spirit water, then it's not as simple as being overbearing. The Autumn Water God clan's Great Elder said coldly. He did not know what benefits Yang Xingtian had promised him. At this moment, he was like a ferocious beast with Yang Xingtian. The Autumn Water God clan's upper echelons surrounded Su Fang like a pack of hungry wolves surrounding a lamb. They all sneered. "I don't know where this idiot came from. He doesn't even understand the principle of not showing off his wealth. His strength is not good, but he still took out an extraordinary Xian Bao. Isn't he courting death? What is reason in the heaven-forsaken desolate region? So what if we kill you without any reason?" It seems that I have no choice but to take out the primary spirit water. I'd like to see how greedy you are. Su Fang laughed and waved his hand. Swoosh, swoosh. A total of 60 water bubbles, which were 60 balls of primary spirit water, floated in front of him. The entire Autumn Water God clan, which had nearly 10,000 people, fell into a dead silence. Everyone, including Yang Xingtian, turned into ice sculptures. A moment later, Qiu Shuihong and Qiu Shuiqing looked at Su Fang with ecstasy in their eyes. QL11, the Autumn Water God clan's great elder, licked his dry lips and asked in a trembling voice, "Did you collect all of this primary spirit water?" Su Fang asked back, "Where does great elder think I got the primary spirit water?" Yang Xingtian shouted domineeringly, "Just 60 balls of primary spirit water, so what? It's far from enough to surpass me." Swoosh, swoosh. Yang Xingtian took out a xian guang from his palm. Inside the xian guang there were more than 50 of them. He had actually hidden something. This time, he had collected more than 100 primordial holy water in the gloom water abyss. It was really incredible. Over 100? Is that a lot? Su Fang smiled embarrassedly. With a wave of his hand, more than 100 primordial spirit water appeared beside him. Altogether, there was a total of 200 primordial spirit water. Hiss, hiss. The sounds of people sucking in cold breaths gathered together, like a wave of uproar. Swish, swish. The Grand Elder of the Autumn Water Celestial Clan and the upper echelons looked at the primordial holy water beside Su Fang. Their eyes shone with endless shock and greed. Yang Xingtian stared blankly as his face burned. He braced himself and said, "You were just lucky, just good luck." Su Fang sneered and waved his hand again. Swish, swish. What did it mean to have more than 500 primordial holy water? Every 10,000 years, the clan leader of the Autumn Water Celestial Clan would go deep into the Gloomwater abyss. Each time, he could only collect about 20 primordial holy water. Su Fang had collected more than 500 primordial holy water. How shocking was that? If we can get so much primordial holy water, our clan won't have to worry about it for at least hundreds of thousands of years. The Grand Elder of the Autumn Water Celestial Clan looked at the balls of bubbles, and his eyes became incomparably hale and hearty. Yang Xingtian sized up Su Fang again and confirmed that Su Fang was indeed at the middle realm of Tao truth. Furthermore, his aura was clearly not that of a cultivator from the heaven-forsaken desolate region. Therefore, ruthlessness surged in Yang Xingtian's heart. This brat can only go deep into the gloom water abyss with the help of the Xian Bao. It is impossible for him to rely on his own strength. For this person to have such an extraordinary Xian Bao, his background must be extraordinary. This is the heaven-forsaken desolate region. So what if he is a genius from the eastern profound heavenly pavilion? With this thought, Yang Xingtian cupped his fists at Su Fang and said, "You have won. I apologize to you." The Grand Elder of the Autumn Water Celestial Clan stroked his beard and said to Su Fang with a smile, "Thank you for collecting so much primordial holy water for the Autumn Water Celestial Clan. If you hand it all to me, the Autumn Water Celestial Clan will definitely reward you handsomely." Su Fang raised his eyebrows. "Hand it all to the Autumn Water Celestial Clan? According to our previous agreement, half of the primordial holy water I collect will belong to me." The Grand Elder's face instantly darkened. "You collected so much primordial holy water at once. The Autumn Water Celestial Clan will not be able to collect primordial holy water for hundreds of thousands of years. How can we let you take it all away? At most, we will give you some compensation." After saying that, he waved his hand and swept out a divine might, sucking all the primordial holy water around Su Fang into his palm. Su Fang looked on coldly and had no intention of making a move. Yang Xingtian was originally a little afraid of Su Fang. After all, Su Fang had such a powerful Xian Bao like the flaming cloud flying carriage. His background must be extraordinary. Now, he was like a pig or a sheep being slaughtered by the Grand Elder. Yang Xingtian no longer had any fear. He looked at Su Fang and smiled. I like your flying carriage Xian Bao very much. I am willing to exchange it with 100 mid-grade elixirs. You won't refuse such a fair deal, right? Su Fang chuckled. 100 mid-grade elixirs in exchange for a high-grade Xian Bao. Young Master Yang is really fair. It seems that I have no choice but to make the deal. After saying that, Su Fang took out the flaming cloud flying carriage and threw it to Yang Xingtian. He didn't expect Su Fang to take out the Xian Bao so readily. This surprised Yang Xingtian. Then, he became more and more convinced that Su Fang was a pushover. When the upper echelons of the Autumn Water God clan saw this, they were all envious. They looked at Su Fang as if they were looking at a fat sheep. My lord! Qiu Shuiqing was about to remind him, but he was quickly stopped by Qiu Shuihong. Yang Xingtian said again, since you are so straightforward, why don't you take out all the other treasures on you and trade with me? I have a lot of treasures in my hands. I'm just afraid that young Master Yang doesn't have enough elixirs. Su Fang smiled and waved his hand to take out hundreds of Xian Bao. They were all plundered by Su Fang after killing experts. The quality was extraordinary. They were at least mid-grade Xian Bao. Yang Xingtian and the people of the Autumn Water God clan were all dumbfounded. In the next moment they were like hungry wolves that saw fat meat. Their eyes lit up. Yang Xingtian swallowed his saliva and sent a thought to the Autumn Water God clan's Grand Elder. Attack together and kill this person. Not only will I guarantee you the position of Autumn Water God clan's patriarch, I will also give you half of these treasures. The Grand Elder began to hesitate. Young Master Yang, there's something wrong with this kid, Yang Xingtian sneered. How could I not know that this kid has an extraordinary background? However, so what if he has a great background? This is the heaven-forsaken desolate region. The Grand Elder hesitated for a moment before making a decisive decision. Yang Xingtian seemed to have changed into a different person. He said in a voice filled with killing intent, these Xian Bao were lost in ancient Blue City. This person must be a bandit. Capture him. The Grand Elder said imposingly, what a bold bandit. How dare he sneak into the Autumn Water God clan. Everyone, attack and suppress this person. The upper echelons of the Autumn Water God clan were already ready to attack. They were about to join forces to suppress Su Fang. Bang! The flame-step treasured boots on Su Fang's feet suddenly ignited with flames and made an explosive sound. Under the power of the mid-grade Xian Bao, Su Fang's figure flashed out like lightning and appeared in front of the Autumn Water God clan's Grand Elder in an instant. His speed was unbelievably fast and was second only to a thought attack. You, the Grand Elder revealed a shocked expression. Even if you have the life to take my treasures, do you have the life to enjoy them? Su Fang's cold voice sounded in the Grand Elder's mind. Boom! A punch that contained the power of a perfect realm physical body and the scorching power of mysterious Yang landed on the Grand Elder's head. The Grand Elder, who was still dreaming, had his head blown up by Su Fang's punch. Blood splattered everywhere. Even his Dharma body could not escape. He was deader than dead. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Su Fang's figure swayed continuously. With the help of the flame-step treasured boot speed, he was like a ghost. The highest cultivation of the Autumn Water God clan's upper echelons was only at the upper Daojin realm. They did not have time to react before they were all killed by Su Fang. This brat actually hid his strength. So what? You can't escape the fate of being suppressed by me. Yang Xingtian was surprised and shocked at first. Then, he attacked without hesitation. A thought flashed out from between his eyebrows. In an instant, a Nine Suns aura that Su Fang was incomparably familiar with enveloped him. It turned into 9 divine suns that revolved around Su Fang and released an astonishing 9 suns divine might. It crazily burned Su Fang's physical body and Tao Palace. Even his Tao heart and will were melting along with it. The divine ability that Yang Xingtian used was actually from the Nine Suns transformation. You are indeed the successor of the heavenly sovereign Pan Song. You actually used the divine ability from the Nine Suns transformation to deal with me, Su Fang. How laughable! Su Fang smiled indifferently. A supreme domineering aura spontaneously arose. Boom! Su Fang's black yang celestial body merged with his physical body. Then, it erupted with a supreme divine might that could control and refine all the yang in the world. The nine suns formed by Yang Shengtian's thoughts rapidly collapsed layer by layer. The illusory Taoist rhymes and will attacks were also burned layer by layer under the supreme divine might and Taoist rhymes of the extreme Tao black yang technique and turned into nothingness. This brat actually mastered such an amazing divine ability. Damn it, he was actually pretending to be weak before. Yang Shengtian's greed vanished in an instant. His figure flashed and he was about to escape. It's too late to think of escaping now. Su Fang's cold voice sounded. A red light shot out from his eyes. True eyes of extermination. When Su Fang was still at the lower Daojin realm, he could already destroy the thoughts of a Taoist lord with his true eyes of extermination. Now that he had advanced to the middle Daojin realm, his strength had greatly improved. Yang Xingtian was only at the Taoist lord realm. How could he withstand the attack of the true eyes of extermination? Yang Xingtian had just escaped more than 100 feet away when his head was shot by the needle-like red light. Chapter 26:77. From Su Fang's sudden attack to the Autumn Water God clan's upper echelons being killed by Su Fang, to Yang Xingtian being suppressed, the entire process only took a dozen breaths. When the Autumn Water God clan's patriarchs woke up, the clan's upper echelons, who were usually high and mighty, were all dead. Even the insufferably arrogant Yang Xingtian was howling like a dead dog. Everyone was trembling. Some of the more timid clansmen had fainted from fright, while others knelt on the ground. Su Fang took all the divine origin water that the Autumn Water God clan's Grand Elder had just taken, and then slowly flew to Yang Xingtian. Su Fang's true eyes of extermination had burned Yang Xingtian's soul and shattered his Tao heart. Although he didn't seem to be injured, he was only half dead. He knew that he was going to die, so he simply threw caution to the wind. He gnashed his teeth and shouted angrily, "I am the disciple of ancient Blue City's City Lord. If you dare to injure me, then wait to be suppressed by the City Lord." Is ancient Blue City very powerful? Su Fang smiled embarrassedly. QL11 Yang Xingtian endured the pain and sneered, "You're probably a disciple of some major force that came to the heaven-forsaken desolate region to train, right? So you don't know how powerful ancient Blue City is. The City Lord is a Tao Lord expert, and there are peerless experts that surpass Tao Lords in my ancient Blue City. No matter which force you come from, if you want to continue staying in the heaven-forsaken desolate region, offending ancient Blue City will only lead to death." There are experts that surpass Tao Lords in ancient Blue City? Su Fang was startled, and he wasn't surprised. According to ancestral Graygon, ancient Blue City's City Lord was the disciple of heavenly sovereign Pansong, and his strength was only at the Tao Lord level. After all, heavenly sovereign Pansong's strength was only at the peak of the upper Tao Lord level. From Yang Shengtian's words, it was strange that there were peerless experts that surpassed Tao Lords in ancient Blue City. Su Fang revealed a disdainful expression and said coldly, "How can a mere ancient Blue City have experts that surpass Tao Lords?" Yang Xingtian became complacent. If there aren't peerless experts that surpass Tao Lords, how can ancient Blue City establish itself in the heaven-forsaken desolate region? Su Fang secretly transmitted his thoughts to ancestral Graygon. This ancestor was merely an Empyrean's mount back then. How would I know the Empyrean's secrets? However, what this brat said is also possible. Celestial venerables are geniuses. Perhaps other than the heavenly Tao Dharma body, they also cultivate another Dharma body. A genius. Su Fang chuckled. The primogenitor Pan Tsang's talent was mediocre. It was only because he cultivated the Jiuxuan Wuji Sutra that he managed to cultivate the heavenly way Dharmakaya. How could he be considered a genius? Other than the heavenly way Dharma body, the heavenly sovereign might have cultivated other Dharma bodies. It's hard to say if he's staying in the heaven-abandoned, desolate region. If things are as I speculate, we can't leave the heavenly sovereign alive. Su Fang pondered for a while, his heart surging with a fierce, killing intent. The heavenly sovereign schemed to possess him. Even Goddess Luo and Shu Wanjin almost lost their lives. With Su Fang's personality, he naturally wouldn't let the heavenly sovereign go. He wouldn't leave him any way out. With a quick thought, Su Fang looked at Yang Shengtian and coldly snorted. Then, on account of City Lord Gutsang, I'll spare your life. Cram. After saying that, Su Fang waved his sleeve and a divine power swept Yang Shengtian into the air. Yang Shengtian never thought that he would really scare Su Fang. As a result, he was able to keep his life. He was surprised and pleasantly surprised. Little bastard, just you wait. If I don't skin you alive, I swear I'm not a human. Yang Shengtian's Tao path had been destroyed by Su Fang. How could he let it go just like that? As he controlled the feather fan to fly out of drifting cold island, he pondered on how to take revenge on Su Fang. Su Fang's action of letting Yang Shengtian go puzzled the ancestral Gragon. Why did you let that kid go? He's just an ant-like figure. It doesn't matter if I kill him or not. If I let him out as bait, he'll definitely invite the experts of ancient Song City to take revenge. When the time comes, I'll suppress this expert and search his soul. I'll naturally understand the situation in ancient Song City. I might even be able to obtain information about the heavenly sovereign Pan Tsang. Su Fang, you really are becoming more and more cunning. He ended the conversation with the ancestral Gragon. Su Fang looked at Qiu Shuihong and Qiu Shuiqing. He took out 20 balls of divine origin water. This should be enough for the Gloomwater sect. Do what you need to do next. I don't want anything like the Grand Elder to happen again. With that, Su Fang abandoned the clansmen of the Autumn Water Clan and returned to the courtyard that Yang Shengtian had occupied in the past. Looking at Su Fang's figure, admiration appeared in Qiu Shuiqing's eyes. As they chatted, a Tao Lord had been reduced to dust. Just how powerful and domineering was that? A man like that was a true man. Qiu Shuiqing admired him greatly. In the past, she was filled with thoughts for her senior brother, Qiu Shuihong. Now that she compared Qiu Shuihong to Su Fang, the two of them were like clouds and mud. Coupled with the fact that Qiu Shuihong had shrunk back when Yang Shengtian had forced him, she found him disgusting no matter how she looked at him. Su Fang stayed in the Autumn Water Clan. He did not plan on leaving for the time being. The Windrush Isle was isolated. Su Fang just happened to be looking for a secluded place to cultivate, constantly digesting the Dharma bodies of the 6 extreme Tao Lords and rapidly increasing his strength. At the same time, he wanted to help Shroud reconstruct her divine body. Even if Shroud successfully recovered her divine body, she would need to constantly cultivate to recover her past strength. The pond here just happened to be suitable for Shroud to cultivate. Using more than 100 years, Su Fang extracted all the origin god mud that he had collected in the depths of the Windrush Isle and refined it into pure origin god mud. Just as Su Fang had expected, the pure primordial spirit mud that was finally refined from the mountain-like pile of raw materials was only about 50 kilograms. Just the origin god mud alone was not enough to reconstruct Shroud's divine body. He still needed some spiritual items that contained life essence. Most importantly, the blood essence of an expert. Su Fang had killed a lot of cultivators before and had obtained a lot of such spiritual items from their storage rings. If it was not enough, He would let the Autumn Water clan go to the trading ground of the Windrush Isle and trade with the Origin God Mud. Finally, he had gathered all the materials. Then, there was the blood essence of an expert. Inside the 6 extreme Tao Saint's body, Su Fang had killed the expert of the Xian clan, Xian Tianqi. Xian Tianqi was a peerless expert who had surpassed the Tao Lord. How shocking was the essence of his body! Su Fang had always sealed it in the Jiuquan Tao Palace, and could not bear to use it. With his current cultivation, it was not only difficult to absorb the life essence of such an expert, but it was also a waste. This time, in order to reconstruct Shroud's body, Su Fang did not hesitate to take it out. He did not need all of Xian Tianqi's blood essence. He only needed a few drops, along with spiritual liquid refined from other spiritual items, and fused with the Origin God Mud. However, Xian Tianqi's will remained in the blood essence. Su Fang had to completely refine it and wipe it clean, turning it into the purest life essence. Only then could Shroud merge with it. Otherwise, Shroud's primordial spirit and consciousness might be affected or even controlled by Xian Tianqi's will. In the end, she would be possessed. With Su Fang's current cultivation, it was originally impossible to wipe out the will in Xian Tianqi's blood essence. However, with the help of the 6 extreme Tao Saints' will, it could be done easily. Everything was ready. Just as Su Fang was about to start, he suddenly raised his eyebrows and projected a spiritual will. "Qiu Shuiqing, what's the matter?" It was Qiu Shuiqing. She was outside the barrier that enveloped the courtyard. Qiu Shuiqing looked respectful, but there was a hint of shyness in her voice. "My lord's cultivation is boring and lonely. Do you need me to serve you?" Su Fang was stunned. He did not expect a beauty to come to him. He rejected her without hesitation. "I'm cultivating in seclusion. Do not disturb me. Go." Qiu Shuiqing was disappointed. At the same time, she heaved a long sigh of relief and left. After Qiu Shuiqing left, Qiu Shuihong flashed out from behind a tree outside the courtyard. She looked at the courtyard with hatred in her eyes. "Although I don't have any feelings for that girl, Qiu Shuihong's jealousy has turned into hatred. She might do something stupid. I have to be careful." With Su Fang's sensing ability, how could Qiu Shuihong's every move be hidden from him? Xian Tianqing, the Tao Lord of the Xian clan, was released from the 9 Xian Tao Palace and given to him a large amount of pills and over 100 strands of the consciousness of the 6 extreme paths holy metal avatars. Xian Tianqing was instructed to keep an eye on the movements of the Autumn Water God clan while he cultivated, so as to avoid unnecessary trouble. "Thank you, Master." Xian Tianqing realized that among the elixirs that Su Fang gave him, there were 100 elixirs that were different from other mid-grade elixirs. They were rare ancient elixirs. The spiritual will of the 6 extreme Tao Saint was a treasure that any cultivator dreamed of. Xian Tianqing, who was suppressed by Su Fang and had no choice but to submit, had no more hatred for Su Fang. After everything was ready, Su Fang started to reconstruct Shroud's divine body. In the Pongtsang universe, Su Fang had the means to create the immortal blood spirit and reconstruct the divine body. It was very similar to the immortal blood spirit. Hence, it wasn't difficult for Su Fang to reconstruct Shroud's divine body. He took out the primordial spirit clay and used the power of Xianyang to transform it into Xianyang true fire. He enveloped the primordial spirit clay and smelted it. Under the burning of the Xianyang true fire, the primordial spirit clay gradually turned into liquid and finally turned into a ball of black mist. Su Fang then took out spiritual liquid made from various spiritual items and dropped it into the black mist. Sizzle, the black mist kept surging and rolling as it quickly fused with the spiritual liquid. Then, it fused with the life blood qi. The life essence that came from a peerless expert who had surpassed the Tao Lord level was very shocking. When Su Fang sent it into the black mist, it caused the originally cold primordial spirit clay to surge with terrifying life force. "Shroud, it's your turn." Su Fong transmitted his spiritual will to Shroud. I didn't expect that there would be a time when I would have to reconstruct my divine body. Shroud's primordial spirit came out from Su Fong's heavenly Tao body. He seemed excited and even a little incredulous. His ethereal primordial spirit entered the blood qi.